or the funds you invest with, what they are doing about the problem.
This holiday season, your shopping isn't complete without a stop at Marshall Pierce & Company Fine Jewelers at 960 North Michigan Avenue. Marshall Pierce & Company specializes in custom engagement rings, luxury watches, and top designer jewelry brands. You're invited to stop by their gorgeous Mag Mile showroom today. Browse their vast selection of top luxury watches by Cartier, IWC, Jaeger-LeCoultre, Panerai, Parmigiani, and jewelry designs by Mikimoto, Marco Biccigo, Paul Morelli, and Suzanne Kalon. Nothing says Merry Christmas like the gift of jewelry. Marshall Pierce & Company Fine Jewelers, 960 North Michigan Avenue at the corner of Oak and Michigan. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5. Sunday hours, 11 a.m. to 4. Shop their ultimate holiday gift guide online at marshallpierce.com, where they curated the best gifts to help you check everyone off your list. Marshall Pierce & Company, purveyors of fine jewelry and timepieces since 1928. Phone 312-642-4299. Marshall Pierce & Company is proud to support Food for the Poor and AM 560 The Answer.
We live in a high-tech world, yet nature is so complex that it's impossible for humans to even come close to duplicating it with all the technology in the world. Witness the spectacular things we see in nature and how they should inform one's faith in the latest book by Jeff Tischler, High Tech versus the Highest Tech. This 78-page paperback book is a must-read, packed with fascinating facts and colorful illustrations, laying out undeniable evidence for intelligent design and an all-powerful creator. And High Tech versus the Highest Tech is written in a way that all age groups can understand and enjoy. Get the book High Tech versus the Highest Tech by Jeff Tischler, offered through Milk and Honey Ministries for just $9.95, plus shipping and handling, with 100% of the proceeds going to missions. And for a limited time, $1 from each book sold goes directly to Food for the Poor. Order your copy today. Call toll-free 1-800-733-9262. Also available from Google Books or your favorite online bookseller. Special rates available for schools, churches, and mission outreach.
America's chaplain faces jail time for the crime of being an American. Chaplain Stephen Lee tells his story, 6:30 p.m. Friday, January 12th at the Church of Christian Liberty in Arlington Heights. Find out more at IllinoisFamily.org.
We're going to fight this thing. This is bigger than me.
When disasters strike, Chaplain Lee provides pastoral care. He comforted after 9/11, Columbine, and when 2020 election fraud charges surfaced in Georgia, he offered spiritual help and guidance, but a left-wing prosecutor wants to silence him.
This transcends politics, things like faith, family, and freedom. And so we're going to stand.
Help Chaplain Lee fight for freedom. Join him 6:30 p.m. Friday, January 12th at the Church of Christian Liberty in Arlington Heights. Find out more at IllinoisFamily.org. IllinoisFamily.org.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
You know, one thing about my storied radio career here in Chicago is I seldom need an alarm to wake up. I'm usually 40 minutes early, if not an hour. And I get an email early this morning from Quinn, one of the big shot producers here on the WIND Morning Answer morning show with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on The Answer. And at 4:52, and you know, the show, you know, supposedly, ostensibly starts at 5, but as you can tell, we just jump on now, so I got 15 minutes of lead time in between there to do what I got to do, grab some coffee, look at the computer, and I get a message from Quinn saying, "Hey, Ray, let us know when you're here. I'll come down and get you." I don't have these guys' numbers in my phone because generally, the door's always open to get into this building, but I guess security's been amped up a little bit. I'm not sure why. Maybe it has to do with that stabbing at a Burger King in Des Plaines overnight. I'm not exactly sure. But Quinn and Justin, I want you guys to know that you may have to call maintenance and tell them to repair the door in the garage area. It was something. I know in years past, that door was open. It was locked. I had to go back out to the Friendly Ford Nifty 150, grab some tools, and I took the door off the hinge. So if you guys can go down there and put that back on, that would be cool. Hey, good morning. My name is Ray Stevens, Ramblin' Ray, Ramondo Sanchez. In for Dan and Amy. One more day. They'll be back on Tuesday. I wonder why it is that, one, is this couple considered lucky, and two, why do we do this here in Chicago? Why is it that when the new year rolls around, we have to know who was the first person to get the first permit for a Cook County Forest Preserve party, and then who was the first one to get the first marriage license? Now, you get some good stuff. No, I'm not going to lie. This is really good. First couple to be wed in Cook County, you get a basket of goodies. They really don't go into details with what this is. Maybe you get migrants. maybe you inherit migrant children in Chicago. I'm not sure. You get a gift basket. You get a gourmet dinner. You get wine. You get cheesecake. I'm sure that's from Eli's. You get dance lessons. Hey, Justin, did you guys take dance lessons for your first dance and for your wedding so you look like you knew what you were doing?
We did not.
All right. What was your first dance?
Oh, don't put me on a spot like that.
It was a couple months ago. You can't remember?
I can't tell you. She picked the song.
Okay. You were just so in love and so enthralled with the moment you can't remember.
She's going to kill me if she hears this.
No. Here, you can't remember because you were love struck.
Oh, I was entrapped in the moment.
That's exactly what it was, and I would stick with that story as long as you possibly frickin' can. All right, man. I remember I'm divorced. I remember my first song. It was "Promise Me" by Billy Ocean. That was to the first wife. I won't go into details on the second. So here you go. Your winner, your lucky couple, Angelica Rodriguez and Alfonso Arroyo. They've got the first marriage license of 2024 here in Chicago. And good luck to you. Good luck down there in the city of Chicago. Coming up this morning here on AM 560, The Answer, 6:05, we're going to talk with Jonathan Honig from Capitalist Pig. The market's been on a tear lately. If you're a man or a woman of a certain age, and I think a lot of us are, you can see the end of the pier. You can't go fishing just yet, but you see it. And depending on how this thing swings on any given day, you might say, today might be the day. Or I can see where I might be able to just kind of ride off into the sunset in a couple years when that Social Security hits and God willing and the creek don't rise and this Biden economy goes away and we've got somebody decent back in the White House. You can maybe see that your future has a little bit of respite to it. I don't look forward to that because I like getting up and doing stuff. I'll probably work at one of the big box stores or, I don't know, be a hunting guide somewhere up in the great northwest. But the 6:05, we'll talk to Honig. Anthony Napolitano. I always remember, I can't remember, 41st or 42nd Ward, somewhere over there, northwest side of Chicago. We'll talk with Naps. He's such a good guy. Representative Brad Stevens at 8:05. At 8:30, a restaurant that I want you to frequent, maybe even find out what their New Year's looks like as far as their specials and party. This is Foxfire Restaurant. They just won the Certified Angus Steakhouse of the Year. But the coolest thing about this place is if you go there and eat, you can eat in an area where you know that this guy took J.B. Pritzker to court, made it all the way to the Illinois Supreme Court, and beat him to stay open during COVID. Oh, I love that story. And then at 8:40, I've got a guest on to talk about Dry January. I think I'm going to try that. Where you don't drink for the month of January. I think it might be time for that. Man, you know what? I was reading yesterday more about this guy. We talked about this story yesterday at the end of the show about a guy down in Portage, Indiana, who got into a wreck almost, it would have been 8 days ago yesterday, and he was in a wreck. He's an iron worker. He was somehow car flips over, ends up under a bridge in Portage, Indiana. Find out that this guy is a Boilermaker local union worker. He's in critical condition after being airlifted to to a South Bend area hospital. I think the problem is if you get in a wreck in Indiana, I don't know this for sure. Maybe some of our listeners that are much more astute and smarter than me at maybe the Briskman brothers can call, or Glenn Lerner and Rowe, 2222, can let us know why. I think if you have Indiana insurance or you live in Indiana, you have to go to an Indiana hospital. I know that I'd want to go to a Chicagoland hospital, but this guy was airlifted to a South Bend hospital. Part of his left leg had to be taken from him, but he says he's okay. He's alive. He's requested privacy, so I guess, Justin, don't call him today. I thought it'd be nice to talk to him. Hey, how you feeling? I mean, traumatic, without a doubt. Lucky to be alive, absolutely. And if you hadn't heard the story yesterday, this guy's truck goes off the road, ends up in a creek, in a river. A dad and his son-in-law are down looking for a place to fish on Christmas Day, and they find this guy. Can you imagine? Absolutely unbelievable. The price of transversing the Chicagoland area is getting more and more and more expensive. I think it was Mayor Daley that sold the Chicago Skyway, or sold the rights or something, for like 99 years, some kind of ridiculous lease where the Skyway, which was owned by the city, was leased out to another company. And at the time when this deal went through, and I remember because I used to go down to Hammond, Indiana all the time. My in-laws at the time had a boat in the Hammond Marina, and I would get off the air because I was working downtown, and I was in the Hancock. I'd get off the air, and I'd scoot down the Dan Ryan, and I'd jump over onto the Skyway. And if I'm not mistaken, it cost $2. You jumped on the Skyway, $2, boom, you're there. It was an easy way to get to Hammond, Indiana. And the only reason I went there, well, there's two reasons. One, in-laws had a boat in the Hammond Marina. And for a kid from the western suburbs to go to Hammond Marina and sit in Hammond and smell the Lever Brothers soap factory, it was a little, it was a little meh, as the kids like to say. And but I would go down there, and I would look out at the lake, and the marina in Hammond is absolutely beautiful. I mean, they did such a nice job. So my in-laws had a boat. I would go down there. My father-in-law would, he worked in the rail yards. He would take those big containers, ships off the trains. He ran a big piece of equipment. He worked the night shift, so he'd be like, hey, meet me down at the boat. We'll go up to the playpen. We'll hang out. We'll have a couple beers. So I did that a lot in the summer. $2 to get over there on the Skyway. Today, actually, New Year's, this thing goes up to $7.20. That's your toll now. $7.20. I've never liked the name 720 or the number 720. Not exactly sure why. Hello, I'm Wally Phillips. But that is a lot of money for that. It's convenient. There's no doubt about it. And you can get really fast service from that crazy Kaplan's fireworks store down there and go to the cigarette barn. You can go down there, get fireworks and cigarettes, and if you can get a 6-pack or a 12-pack, because fireworks, smokes, and liquor for your entertainment dollars is a pretty good investment. That Epstein list is ready to come out. Raise your hand if you're marked safe from Epstein list. I've flown private before, but never on the, what was it called, the Lolita Express? What the hell is the matter with people? What is it about Hollywood that makes all these people perverts? And there's going to be some politicians on there as well. And I think some people that you and I support are going to be on that list. Most of the people we already kind of know about, but there will be a few surprises. I mean, that's probably why, that Jeffrey Epstein, took his own life in a jail cell, where I don't believe he had anything to really be able to take his own life, but somehow that happened. But that comes out January 1, and people have paid big money to have their names redacted. I don't know how that works. But man, oh man. And the other thing that we find out yesterday is Danny Masterson. You remember Danny Masterson, that 70s show? They now have a picture of him in his prison orange, his first mugshot being released, doing 30 years to life for ostensibly raping 2 women that he worked with. boy, I really liked him. And I don't know if anybody watched Netflix, The Ranch, with Ashton Kutcher. And, man, it was funny. It was cool because, Justin, you're going to have to help me here. Who's the old guy that everybody loves? He was the voice for steak. It's what's for dinner. You know who I'm talking about. Gray-haired guy. Help me out here. The Ranch. Cowboy. Are you there? Are you with me? No, not Matthew McConaughey. Good-looking old cowboy dude. Always plays cowboys. Sam Elliott. There you go. I love that guy. He played a very cool part. He was the grumpy old conservative guy, and everybody else were bleeding heart liberals. But it was a show that was easy to watch. But Danny Masterson, man, you broke my heart. Just a quick personal note. This has to do with Fox 32 Chicago. Yesterday at 8 o'clock in the 8 o'clock hour, and I do a lot of work for Fox, with Fox. I do a segment mostly during the summer called Doing Good in the Hood, where I work with the weekend anchors, and we always go out to the neighborhoods, and we find good stories to bring to you. I think that's important. It's important, especially in some of Chicago's hardest-hit neighborhoods. Well, yesterday, Anita Padilla is a wonderful, wonderful woman. She is probably a little too outspoken for today's modern television, because you gotta follow the narrative. You gotta speak the speak. You gotta do what you gotta do. And a lot of people think that old Anita was pushed out because the makeup has changed of the morning show over at Fox. But Anita was there for a long, long time, and she has solid Christian principles and conservative views. And yesterday she said that it was it. She's done. She's going to move on to the next chapter, and she's doing something else. She can't quite tell us what that is yet. It's always that next big thing. I'm here to tell you that media jobs are not easy to come by anymore. And sometimes when you say you got that next big thing, it's not necessarily that big. But, man, I'm telling you, for the amount of time she was here and doing it the level she did in Chicago television, and speaking her mind, and I think that the bosses probably didn't like that much because, man, she is somebody that was a true and honest conservative, and she had her principles, and she stuck by them and never wavered. And, boy, oh, boy, I'm here to tell you, I like that. And I like that a lot. It is a tough business. There's no doubt about it. And working in Chicago is a tough gig, no matter if you're an iron worker, no matter if you're a union sheet metal man, or if you're in media. You know, the one thing I always said about Chicago media, and I've been doing it a long time, is when I worked, I was a sheet metal, I was a union sheet metal worker for years with my father's company before I ever got into the media business. And you would work with your guys, and maybe at the end of the day, you'd go and you'd hit Otto's Bar in Glen Ellen and have a couple cocktails with the guys, and you'd laugh and you'd get ready to do it again. At the end of the day, you had camaraderie, where in radio, usually at the end of the day, you have a partner that wants to take your job or stab you in the back, or both. So, congratulations to Anita Padilla on a career that speaks for itself, and we will keep you posted as to what she does next. She is a nice young lady. All right, Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley yesterday was asked about the cause of the Civil War, and she left something very important out, and she's kind of stepped in it. We'll talk about that coming up next here on Chicago's Morning Answer. My name's Ray Stevens, in for Dan and Amy right now. I wrote this number down kind of haphazardly, and it looks like it's Nikki Walleye, but it's not. It's Nikki Whaley. Nikki Whaley is in the newsroom now at 5:30 on WIND, AM 560.
Good morning. It's 39 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The Colorado Republican Party is asking the Supreme Court to overturn the ruling which disqualifies former President Trump from the 2024 ballot. The Colorado Supreme Court ruled last week that Trump was ineligible because of his involvement with January 6th. The 14th Amendment's insurrection clause was ratified in 1868, with the Supreme Court never making a decision on it since. Cook County Sheriff's authorities are investigating the death of a county jail inmate. Michael O'Connor was found unresponsive in his cell earlier this week. Security and medical staff started life-saving measures until the paramedics transported the 33-year-old man to a hospital where he later died. O'Connor was being detained on several charges, including aggravated intimidation of a peace officer and threatening a public official. News is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Prof University and The Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Charlie Kirk sees the other side running scared.
These are a paranoid group of people. You do not pass laws preventing things that Trump can or cannot do, like leaving NATO, if you aren't legitimately afraid that he could become president. This is the best piece of evidence that I have seen that it's not just a game for Democrats.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
The truth is, viruses cannot be killed, and unlike bacteria, viruses are not alive. A virus is what we call a biologic entity, but we can still do something. We can destroy a virus or even keep it from being able to launch its attack on our bodies before, during, and after exposure. And this is why you need to get the kit. Our winter survival kit. Your body can protect you from these infectious bugs, but it needs a little help building up its immune defenses. And the best offense is a great defense. And that's why you need the kit. It's a perfect strategy for every infectious bug, as well as those non-living, can't-kill viruses. Our winter survival kit is a must for your home or workplace. It contains targeted nutritional components that can get the job done before, during, and after any infectious exposure. So get the kit. For details, call our Health Quest radio hotline at 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. It's Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season.
We're talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food costs.
Food for the Poor is working with local partners to make sure these children and their families get the food they need to survive. And guess what? Your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. And thanks to a generous match, that donation will help feed more than 30 children for an entire year.
When you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
Call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951. Or go to 560theanswer.com and click on the Give Food banner.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
MS Consulting Services has been a proud Chicago-based provider of IT enterprise services for over 28 years, providing proactive solutions. Joe and John would like to take this opportunity to thank their customers for their continued business and wish both current and future customers a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. If you'd like to get to know MS Consulting Services better, give them a call at 800-648-0404 or visit them online at mscsinc.com. That's mscsinc.com.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. A delay on the outbound Stevenson between Kedzie and Pulaski. It was shut down for just a bit, but it's been reopened, and that is due to a crash. Also on the Tri-State southbound, beware of a stalled semi in the right lane right after Cermak, so it's a little tight into that scene too. On the inbound Edens, though, you are good to go from Lake Hook Road to Montrose. No complaints to report on the inbound Kennedy. Eisenhower looks great as you make your way in from 390 into downtown. On the Dan Ryan, 95th Street into downtown, that's moving quickly too. The Skyway, I-57, and the Bishop Ford, those are in great shape. DuSable Lakeshore Drive is fine north and south. On the Jane Addams, no troubles. The Reagan and the Veterans Memorial Tollway, all of those are fine. Traffic is a service of Starcase. When you need to protect your valuable equipment, put it in a Starcase. The most dependable road cases you can buy. Designed and made right here in the Midwest. Go to starcase.com to order your case now. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But now check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Cloudy skies, rain and drizzle for today and tonight. The high today 40, low tonight 39. Clouds, a bit of morning rain, followed by areas of drizzle tomorrow afternoon, high 43. Sunny Saturday, and the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Well, I don't know about the biggest stories. I mean, my goodness, there's not that much going on. It's the sweet spot between the birth of the sweet baby Jesus and New Year's. It's Ray Stevens, Ramblin' Ray, in for Dan and Amy. Dan and Amy will be back Tuesday. Rest easy, Middle East. Anthony Blinken to visit the Middle East next week. I'm sure that'll clear everything up as this war between Israel and Hamas seems to grow larger and larger. I know that the Biden administration would like Benjamin Netanyahu just to say, okay, it's over. We'll do a ceasefire. You guys can go ahead and build back up. There's nothing to see here anymore. I know the Joe Biden administration would like that. I know that Karine Jean-Pierre would like to put on that clown makeup she wears at the White House press briefing and have nothing but good news to say, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Mayor Brandon Johnson says that it's just not sustainable. He was a front and center boy. This guy sure does like being on CNN. He's had a lot of TV time. I don't think he's going to be on Fox anytime soon, but he says that the migrant influx into the city is untenable. Chicago's not set for this. We can't take it, and it's just going to get worse and worse. His complaints come as New York Mayor Eric Adams is complaining about the same stuff, getting ready to send illegals and migrants in his town down to Washington, D.C. to say hi to the Biden administration and the aforementioned Karine Jean-Pierre in her clown makeup. Adams told the press Tuesday that the federal government has refused to do their job. You have refused to do your job. Well, wait a second. You're a sanctuary city. You're a sanctuary city. You're supposed to be ready for this. I mean, New York, you should be a little bit more ready than Chicago, because Chicago is in the in the middle of the country, as we all know. We don't have a big lady with a torch in her hand saying, "Give us your tired, your weak." There's not a big entry port here, although there sure seems to be lately. Was it yesterday that they were dropping off buses of well, I guess we're going to call them illegals in Naperville, and Naperville is nice this time of year. Naperville, Hinsdale, that's a lot nicer than Eagle Pass at the border. And, for all those people out there in Naperville, I didn't see one Naperville resident or hear of one Naperville resident that has that sign out in the front of their house that says, "Hate has no home here." Where are these people taking everyone in Naperville? It's DuPage County has really, and I know that some of Naperville, I believe, is in Will, but mainly DuPage County has really switched and flipped from heavy Republican, heavy GOP, to being more of a blue county now, because when COVID happened, everybody said, yeah, the city's untenable. It's not that nice here. I want to get out. I want to have a yard. I want to walk the dog. So a lot of people that moved to Naperville brought their voting ways with them. They brought those signs that say, "These lives matter, and this is who we are, and we are welcoming, and hate has no home here." But, when it comes down to it, what do these people do for anyone when they show up in their town? Hinsdale, what are you doing for people? I mean, y'all woke, but you're not doing anything. You just say, get on a train, get to Chicago as fast as you can. Johnson yesterday with Poppy Harlow, Sweet Poppy on CNN, was saying, I want to make it clear, repeatedly said it over and over again, we have to have coordination. Johnson says since taking office, you see, it's just been a mess, and none of it's his problem, because it falls on that last mayor, the one with the biggest, the swinging thing in Chicago. But this is Johnson yesterday on CNN talking about the wants and the needs of one big city by the big lake.
Well, since taking office a little bit over 7 months ago, my administration has responded to this humanitarian mission with the full force of government. We have roughly 15,000 people living in shelters, temporary shelters here in Chicago, nearly 27 shelters total, 4,500 children in our Chicago public schools system, providing health care, and also making sure that we are screening individuals as they come through the city of Chicago, providing, again, on-site vaccinations at all of our shelters. And this certainly has been a remarkable challenge that my administration has had to face, and quite frankly, a challenge that we are experiencing all over the country. But let me just say this and make this very clear. What I have said repeatedly is that we have to have coordination. Since taking office, we've had an uncoordinated approach. And what I've worked to do, instead of having chaos, is provide some structure and calm around this situation. And without significant federal support, this is not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, but wait a second. We're a welcoming city, and it's been in place for a long time. As a matter of fact, the city council just met not long ago to keep it a sanctuary city. So I thought that maybe we'd be ready to go, and we'd be okay with this. But I guess we're not. But hey, you come over here on a train. You get bussed over to Chicago or flown in some instances. You get a nice phone, and then you get to come to Chicago and get shots. Everybody's getting, it seems like it is all working out so nice. You come, you stand in a line, you get your immunizations because we know those all work, and then we're going to house you over here. We're going to send you down to the Inglewood Brighton Park. No, we can't do that because that was a toxic dump site, and we didn't want to put migrants where they might get sick. And then there's some very sad stories of kids who have been sick, and some that have passed away in the care of these makeshift shelters in Chicago. And that's BS, man. Because if you were going to let these people in here, and let's face it, that's what this administration is doing. If you're letting them in, you need to be able to give the kids some care. I don't care who you are, how you think. That's wrong, and it's sad. Our number is 312-642-5600. I see that Bob is in Buffalo Grove this morning. Bob, good morning. You're on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Ray. Good talking to you and subbing for Amy and Dan.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Well, let in with talking about, I guess, Nikki Haley stepped her foot in the doo-doo or whatever with her comment about not commenting about slavery. I want to just point out to your listeners and maybe you, I'm going to go back about 60 years and date myself. I was in high school in Chicago when they actually had good Chicago high schools. I had to read a controversial book. It was really an eye-opener back in the early 60s called Cavalier and the Yankee. The premise of the book was, you get this? Civil War was not necessarily about slavery. It was about the cultural divide between the southern agricultural South and the industrial North.
Well, listen, thanks, Bob. It's always good to talk to you. Thanks for the call. But here, no, slavery was certainly an issue of the Civil War. I mean, not just one of the issues, probably one of, and I get what you're saying. You're saying economics. I mean, really, the invention of the cotton gin and cotton and that crop and the economy of the South was something that was wanted and needed by the North. But also, if you look farther into it, I believe it was Lloyd Garrison and Frederick Douglass that they said, you know what, we need to get rid of slavery for all people. They wanted all enslaved people to be freed. And not everybody in the South owned slaves, just so everybody knows. But here, I'll play Nikki Haley coming up in a little bit to talk about it. But you can't talk about the Civil War and not mention slavery. I'm sorry. I know there were economic things involved. I just laid those all out. But slavery was a big issue, a huge issue. And she should have mentioned it. I'll play Nikki Haley coming up here. Right now, let's get a check of traffic and pay a couple bills. It's 5:45. My name is Ray Stevenson for Dan and Amy on AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
long day. Time to charge up.
Hey, just like my delivery truck.
Even kids know to keep business moving forward, it's time to make the switch to electric vehicles. Whether you have one van or a whole fleet of trucks, resources are available to help you make the changes that make sense.
Let's go!
Beep, beep.
Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
Paid actor per trail.
Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. In 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected.
Ethos fast and easy online term life insurance up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
Most folks don't realize this fact. Our country is only 4 missed meals away from chaos, and those meals can vanish fast. In a national emergency, fragile supply chains break down and will wipe grocery store shelves clean in a matter of hours. Before this happens, there's something you should do today. That's stock up on emergency food storage. My Patriot Supply is the company millions of American families trust for their emergency supplies. You should too. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each kit contains delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. My Patriot Supply also sells large solar generators, gravity-powered water filtration systems, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, heirloom seeds, and other survival necessities. Order by 3 p.m. and your items ship the same day, fast. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Those who know what's coming prepare before the chaos starts. mypatriotsupply.com.
Sean Thompson here to tell you about our opportunity to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season. I'm talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are facing the economic decline, the unemployment, the rising food prices. Food for the Poor is working with local partners to make sure these kids and their families get the food they need to survive, and your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. That donation will help feed 30 kids for an entire year. When you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this, simply call one of my favorite people, Ann Jeanette Natowski, 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
AM 560, The Answer.
I'm here on the old Twitter box. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube or what are we on? We're on YouTube. We're on Grindr, Tinder. We're on all the closed. I think we're on at the local DoubleTree in movie viewing. Do I look okay on TV this morning? All right, because it's a little warm in here, and I feel like I have a little sweat on the brow. Not that it really matters. It's radio, for God's sake. Whoever thought it would be a good idea to tape a radio show? I'd like to know who that program director was. Probably one that I worked for. Joe Concha, I follow on Twitter. He just tweeted out, Sanctuary City Mayor has a plea. This is a direct tweet and a quote from Brandon Johnson. we've reached a critical point in the mission that what is absent is real significant intervention. Our local economies are not designed and built to respond to this type of crisis. Are you telling me that an immigration city under the guise and under the direction of Brandon Johnson isn't ready for all this immigration? Our number is 312-642-5600. Corey is on the line in Woodlawn. Good morning, Corey. Welcome to Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. You guys are on Facebook as well. That's how I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Can you see me on Facebook?
Yes, I can see you on Facebook.
All right, great. That wasn't part of the deal here. There's going to be an extra fee
one
for
of the
that.
things- One of the things I wanted to mention, the power to tax is the power to destroy. These local governments will destroy all property in their cities. They do not have the capacity to start taking care of migrants. Milton Friedman has always taught us that it's a very different thing to migrate for welfare, and that's exactly what's happening. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Corey. You see, I like guys like Corey, right? Succinct and to the point. He does bring up a very good point. And we talked about this with Ray Lopez yesterday, and I'll broach it again today when I talk with Alderman Anthony Napolitano. We're going to talk with Anthony just after 7:35 this morning. But what he's saying there is it's not sustainable for the monies in Chicago that are set out for various people in those neighborhoods to use. People that are here legally, people that were born here, guys like you and me, women like you and me that are residents of Chicago, that are Americans. Listen, we welcome people, but you can't do it in this way where you just have influx and thousands of people crossing the border. And I got to tell you, what in the world would Texas do if Greg Abbott didn't put people on buses and planes and send them to other cities and kind of let them share in the pain? What would Texas have done? They can't sustain all those people. And where do they go? I mean, we're talking now millions and millions of people since the Biden administration really opened up the borders. And I love it when people go, well, the borders aren't just open. You know what? Have you seen it? I mean, I get that old believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, but believe your eyes. Believe your eyes and believe what you see. Now, before we went to the break, I wanted to talk and play the audio from Nikki Haley. So I'm going to do that for you right here and play Nikki Haley, who I listen, I like Nikki Haley. I don't like that Trump calls her names, but I know Donald, that's his deal. And, he's going to do whatever he can to amp up his base. And, whatever he does, it works because he's so far ahead of the polls. And it worked for him last time, Crooked Hillary and everything else. He labels people, and whether that's good or bad, whatever, it works for him. But here's Nikki Haley yesterday. This is a long clip, but this is what everyone's talking about this morning, where Nikki Haley didn't want to talk about the Civil War and slavery. Some light applause.
Yes, sir.
Is Nikki Haley.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you. Please, what was the cause of the United States Civil War?
Well, don't come with an easy question or anything. I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. What do you think the cause of the Civil War was?
Ooh, deflect. Not a good policy.
Sorry?
Okay. The audio gets a little bit fuzzy there, and I what do you think the cause of the Civil War was? Probably not a presidential move. Probably not something you would have done, but it was state and federal rights. Okay, so that's one. State, federal rights. And some of those rights, yes, they had to do with slavery. Not everybody in the South owned slaves. Not everybody did. But, the economy, really, what starts wars, right? Follow the money. Economy. I wanted to say, was it Eli Whitney? Help me out here, guys. Eli Whitney that invented the cotton gin, I believe, and patented that. And once you could make, in that cotton gin, the way it worked the crop, then you needed more people to help produce that crop in the South. So they were making money. And that money was something that the North had their eyes on, but they also had their eyes on slavery. And I think it would be foolhardy not to talk about that. So there you go. Nikki Haley kind of stepping in it a little bit yesterday when it came to what the heck was all about the Civil War. I don't think that was probably one of her best moments yesterday, where she stops and she then defers and says, "You know what? Enough about you. Let's talk about me. What do you think about me?" Although I did like the guy that asked the question. He sounded like Saul Rosenberg, the old jerky boy character. Yes, Nikki Haley, I have a question for you. The Civil War was bad, wasn't it? 6,000 migrants in a caravan heading to Eagle Pass, Texas. The mayor of Eagle Pass, Texas, with a message to leaders, with a message to Brandon Johnson, with a message to Eric Adams, with a message to the mayor of West Chicago, Naperville, Wheaton, anywhere around here, Hinsdale, anywhere you can take them. This is what's going on our southern border right now.
With Secretary of State Blinken set to meet with Mexico's president tomorrow, I'm curious, what would your message be to these leaders about the crisis at the border, about what you are seeing firsthand, and the impact that this lack of action in Washington is having on your city?
I want to tell our leaders, well, thank you for having me, first of all, that this is unacceptable. Our city here in Eagle Pass, we've been getting slammed with 2,000 to 3,000 people a day, and it's just an unfair, unethical situation. What's going on here in Eagle Pass, we feel ignored by the federal government. I've called to the government that we need action. There needs to be a consequence to so many people crossing illegally. If somebody breaks the law, there needs to be a consequence. And right now, there are no consequences. That's why you have thousands of people coming in through my city, and it's impacting our citizens every single day in many ways.
Well, here you go. You've got these are the people that we are electing. Mayor Brandon Johnson, we've elected that guy, and I say we, I mean as a collective city. You get what you vote for. Nikki Haley, she's out there running for president against Trump, Ramaswamy, Ron DeSantis. These are your choices. These are your people. It's Ray Stevens in for Dan and Amy. I want to take you to Santiago, Chile, and why this is important to the Lucasfilm production company. There is a car wash in the middle of Chile. It's called Star Wash, and this is in Chile. This is what George Lucas is focusing on. So there's a car wash in Chile. They dress their guys up as stormtroopers and Chewbacca and Darth Vader, and they wash your car. Now, I'm not sure what kind of cars are getting washed in Santiago, Chile. I'm sure there's a lot of Cadillac Escalades and drug dealers and whatever that stuff. But a little car wash trying to make its way and make a little bit of money is now being sued by the Lucasfilm company for stealing the rights to the film. And the car wash says, no, we haven't stole any rights to the film or to the brand or anything like that. It's a coincidence. Yet I look here and they've got stormtroopers washing cars. I would say it's more than a coincidence, but I just wonder why this is important to George Lucas. I have to call my friend Bob Fuller over at Fuller's Car Wash, and maybe we can do like a Dan and Amy car wash, a conservative car wash. Where you only wash a certain portion of the car. And you got to pay a lot for it because that's how we roll. On the way, let's talk with Jonathan Honig, talking about money and things of that like. What's it look like as we roll into a new year? It's 6 o'clock right now at WIND Chicago.
A very productive meeting. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what the head of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, wrote on social media after going to Mexico with Secretary of State Antony Blinken with this goal.
Get help to stem the crushing tide of migrants traveling into the U.S. illegally from Mexico. Now, it's notable that none of the cabinet secretaries in the delegation are actually traveling to the border to see the crisis firsthand.
And Fox's Jillian Turner in Mexico City. She says it's unclear what was agreed to at the meeting, though Mexico is removing an encampment of migrants across the river from Brownsville, Texas. Mexico's president posted on social media they made important progress. He's been asking the U.S. to ease sanctions on Cuba and Venezuela. Israel not slowing down in Gaza, continuing to target Hamas militants and attacks in towns and at an urban refugee camp amid international calls for a ceasefire and more aid to civilians. But Republican Congresswoman Claudia Tenney tells Fox,
we need to give 100% support to Israel, which we're not really doing. We're giving the support, but we're not getting support from our European allies as well.
Officials in Gaza say more than 20,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war began. Colorado's Republican Party is going to bat for former President Trump, asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the state Supreme Court ruling, taking the Trump name off the 2024 primary ballot, claiming he's disqualified for violating a constitutional provision by leading an insurrection, the Capitol riot, though the former president has not been charged with that crime. Maine is considering a similar attempt to block the former president. He will remain on the ballot in Michigan, however, a key swing state.
Michigan has 15 electoral votes. President Biden won Michigan in 2020. But only by 85,000 votes. Now, the Michigan case never went to trial. The Supreme Court decided that election officials had no power to determine who is on the ballot.
Fox's Chad Perkam. Nobody won the Powerball jackpot again last night, so it grossed an estimated $760 billion, sixth biggest Powerball prize ever. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 39 degrees in Chicago. In the AM 560 The Answer newsroom, I'm Nikki Whaley. A migrant caravan headed to the U.S. has entered through southern Mexico. Longtime Eagle Pass resident and immigrant advocate Mike Garcia describes the situation as thousands have already crossed through the border town in the past week.
It's just overwhelming, and people need to understand that. This is not a problem that's just our problem because the folks aren't staying here. There's not enough resources for them. They're going other places. It's everybody's problem.
There's reports that thousands are coming from Central and South America. On Tuesday, some that came through were carrying a large banner that read, "Exodus from Poverty." The Illinois Department of Transportation, state police, and other law enforcement across the state will be working overtime through the beginning of the new year in an effort to keep the roads safe. During last days of the year, additional law enforcement will be patrolling for impaired driving, seatbelts, speeding, distracted driving, and other traffic violations. Since December 14th of this year, more than 1,200 people have lost their lives in crashes. That's 11 more than during the same period last year. Chicago police are investigating a hit-and-run crash that happened last Wednesday that left one person injured. Officials say that the individual exited the CTA Irving Park Blue Line station and was crossing the Irving Park Road under 90-94 when they were hit by a vehicle. They have sustained serious injuries. The driver fled. So far, no arrests have been made. News is a service of Starcase. When you need to protect your valuable equipment, put it in a Starcase, the most dependable road cases you can buy. Designed and made right here in the Midwest. Go to starcase.com to order your case today. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here, and if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well,
trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
There's nothing worse than hearing about people living in pain. So I'd like to tell you about Keith from Washington and his Relief Factor story. After years of activity, from college football to running a martial arts studio, at age 51, Keith's body felt like it was wearing out. So he gave Relief Factor a try. Keith says he now has, quote, little to no pain in my knees and highly reduced neck pain. Feeling so much better, he pursued a second-degree black belt. I can testify to everything except the black belt part, how much it has helped me. Relief Factor. If you're living with aches and pain, see how Relief Factor, a daily drug-free supplement, could help you feel and live better every day. To get started, try the Relief Factor 3-week quick start kit. It's only $19.95. Comes with a feel better or your money back guarantee. Visit relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800-4-RELIEF.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. We're seeing a delay on the Kennedy. This is outbound, though, slowing down from the Tri-State to Manheim at 21 minutes. But if you're headed in, you're okay. On the Edens, no troubles in or outbound. Eisenhower looks good at 23 from 390 into downtown. Stevenson, stop and go Ashland into the Dan Ryan at 22 minutes on in. The reverse looks good. Inbound Ryan still remains clear. Skyway 57 all good. And the inbound side of the Ford, stop and go from Stony Island into the Dan Ryan. DuSable Lakeshore Drive moving nicely north and southbound. On the Tri-State southbound, a stall was cleared right after Cermak, so that delay is also dissipating. The Jane Addams, the Reagan, and the Veterans Memorial Tollway, all those are fine. Traffic is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Cloudy skies, rain and drizzle for today and tonight. The high today 40, low tonight 39. Clouds, a bit of morning rain, followed by areas of drizzle tomorrow afternoon, high 43. Sunny Saturday, and the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, you know what? I think we've kind of grooved into our second hour after getting here early this morning and having to break into the building because I don't have a key card. And it's a good thing I keep a tool box in the Ford Nifty 150. Justin, did you check and see if they put the door back on downstairs yet? All right, good. Yeah, I took the door off the hinges to get in the place this morning. Next time, you guys, give me a key card, all right? It'll be easier for all of us. It's Ray Stevens in for Dan and Amy. You know, my next guest knows about all the nuts and bolts of the economy, and you can see this guy all over TV, capitalistpig.com. He knows a lot about money. He knows a lot about the markets, and he knows a lot about dogs. We're going to talk about that in a second. He's got a great new book. Jonathan Honig, sir, welcome to WIND.
Oh, Ray, great to be with you. Good morning. And, look, after years of talking with Dan and Amy and you on stations all over the country about how terrible and tough the economy has been, I'm happy we actually have a little something to celebrate here at the end of 2023. A great year for stocks and a much better outlook for inflation in the weeks and months ahead.
You know, they call this the Santa Claus rally. And yesterday there were some saying that there were signs that the rally was showing fatigue. What does that mean? Does that mean we're ready to see a little bit of a leveling off as we enter the new year?
Go to the sky, and the S&P, the market rate, it's been up for 9 straight weeks. This is the best run since 2004. It's up almost 13% just since November 1st. And Ray, some of the this year it's really been all about high tech. We've all seen the Chat GPT and seen kind of exactly how incredible this technology is. That's pushed some stocks, particularly technology, up even more. I mean, the Nasdaq's up 44% just this year, Ray. Now, keep in mind it got annihilated in 2023, but that's been the real big story, and it's one of the reasons why all eyes are going to be on Apple this morning. In particular, Apple has that new line of smartwatches, the Apple Watch, and basically it was all pulled from the shelves in recent days because of a patent ruling from overseas. Well, it turns out now the Biden administration has overruled that, at least temporarily, so Apple will be able to continue to sell that new smartphone, that new smartwatch, I should say, not getting pulled from shelves after all, and certainly going to do a lot to assuage the fear that, as you said, maybe the rally is over. The fact that Apple continued to sell the watch, it's a good news for stocks overall.
I know that we, you look at your personal finances, and you yourself just said it. In 23, they took a hit. I know I've got a ways to go before it gets back up to that precipice of where it was. But we live in a world where we're being sold, electric vehicles. Electric's the way to go. Get rid of your combustion cars, although nobody's buying these cars right now. I think the average wait time, at least in and around Chicago, is 190 days that an EV sits on a dealership lot. But one of the stories you have this year is about a car manufacturer that not a lot of people know of. They had a car that was up for, I believe, Auto of the Year at the beginning of the year, and that's Lordstown Motors. But now they've gone kaput, haven't they?
They have. I mean, it's another one of those names, Ray. And ironically, 2023 was a terrible name for most EV makers, as you said. And the winds have shifted a little bit. It used to be the combustion cars that were sitting on dealer lots and the EVs that were going very quickly. Well, for most of 23, as you said, it's been the EVs that are sitting for extended periods on dealer lots and the normal combustion engines that are going much quickly. So this has been a real winnowing of the year of all these EV companies. There was certainly a mad dash, and Lordstown is just one of those. I mean, it looks like not just Tesla might be the sole survivor in terms of the pure play EVs, Ray, but keep in mind every car company really is an EV player now. Most of the car manufacturers, the majority of their cars are electric vehicles. So, that premium that EV car manufacturers once had, you have to get an EV from Tesla, from Lordstown, et cetera. That's gone away as most cars now, especially coming into 2024, 2025 model year, most likely you'll be driving an EV whether you like it or not.
I'll never drive an EV. I'll go back to a horse. No, I'll tell you, I've got kind of this reputation. I've been in this town a long time, and people know that I like to drive. I mean, I've had usually I drive a pickup truck. I've driven diesel trucks because I pull some big stuff from time to time. I like having a pickup. Now I'm just driving a little F-150. But the other day, I go to my Ford dealer, and they're like, "Why don't you take this Mach-E for a drive and see if you like it?" And I got in the car, and it was. People get pissed off because they call it a Mustang. Whatever. You got to get over it. But I got to tell you, I liked it. It was quick. It was built nice. The only thing is Jonathan, I got in this thing, and on a full charge, it was 244 miles to, do you say empty or uncharged or whatever? I mean, you got to get that battery technology to come along before you'll ever get a guy like me to buy in, and I think I'm the guy you just talked about. I'll have to drive an EV whether I like it or not.
Yeah, Ray, look, the technology will continue to improve. I think what's so frustrating is, not only is it simply more expensive, but also, Bastiat, the economist, always talked about what is seen and what is unseen in the economy. And, we're seeing the car move by electric power, but what we're not seeing, for example, is the environmental impact of the batteries, the battery disposal, and, of course, just the electricity itself. People forget, where does the majority of the electricity come from that powers our EV cars? most likely coal. These have been Teslas have been referred to as cold power cars. But the environmental movement is so strong in this country, particularly with the Biden administration. So a lot of the subsidies and benefits that have befelled EV players and EV car manufacturers are likely to continue, of course, at all of our expense.
I wonder if we're just one administration away from not having this jammed down our throats any longer. But I tell you, I was on the Eisenhower Expressway at Harlem the other day, sitting in horrible, traffic, and there was a Mustang in front of me, and I know that it was burning like a Sunoco 116 octane race fuel, and I just enjoy that smell. And I rue the day that goes away. That would be very sad. One more story for you, Jonathan, but before we talk about your book. I know a lot of states, as we get ready to delve into the new year, are talking about minimum wage increases. Talk about Pizza Hut and what's going on with their 1,200 delivery drivers.
Yeah, they're getting laid off. And this is the same thing, Ray. I mean, that is seen and that is unseen. And probably the best example is minimum wage. Minimum wage is going up all around the country come January 1st, including here in Illinois. In fact, minimum wage is increasing from $13 an hour to $14 an hour. 22 states are going to increase the minimum wage. And, we all see everyone making an extra $1, an extra $2 an hour. In fact, in California, minimum wage is rising, get this, from $16 an hour to $20 an hour. Oh. And as a result, you've got a major Pizza Hut franchisee already saying they're going to be laying off 1,200 delivery drivers. And that's not just it, Ray. I mean, other franchisees and other stores are always already talking about raising fees. Another franchisee, a Pizza Hut franchisee, says that he or she is going to start charging an 8.5% service charge to the bill simply because of that higher increase in minimum wage. So, as Milton Friedman famously said, there is no such thing as a free lunch. So look for higher service charges and most likely less available service once this minimum wage law hits come January 1st.
This signal, IND, goes in such great direction all over the city. I know right now there's somebody on the south side of Chicago saying, I ain't never driving an electric car and I'm never eating at a Pizza Hut. It'll never happen. Jonathan Honig is our guest. Jonathan, tell me about your new book.
Sure. Well, look, I love money, Ray, but I might love dogs even more, dogs and pets. And there's always been this really interesting philosophical question. Everyone says that they love their dog, they love their pet, but do you love your dog really like the same way you'd love your spouse or, you'd love your children? So the new book is called Can You Really Love a Dog? Leonard Peikoff and Ayn Rand on Pets delves into exactly that, the real philosophical nuts and bolts relationship between you and your animal, why it's so strong, how to best enjoy your pet when they're living, and how to most effectively mourn them when, of course, they eventually pass away. So Can You Really Love a Dog? Jonathan Honig is the editor. It's on Amazon. And Ray, as I said, I've got your copy coming in the mail, your media copy. I'm happy to share with you and share with the world as well.
Can You Really Love a Dog? Find it on Amazon. Jonathan Honig, always great to talk to you. I'll talk to you again probably, who knows, L.A., Kansas City, maybe Louisiana, but I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Well, Ray, you are all over the country. We're so happy to have you, and Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to all of our listeners.
Happy New Year to you, my friend. Jonathan Honig here on WIND. Can you really love a dog? I'll tell you about the nonsense that's going on in my house right now. You won't believe it, and you might say, Ray, it's time for you to get 6:19 at WIND, AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been around a long time. Every one of us, as we age, realizes that things are changing in our bodies, in the world around us. Lots of times I don't like what's happening, so what can I do about it? Well, the one thing we can do is pray, right? The other thing we can do is take better care of ourselves. I do that by taking Balance of Nature because I'm not really good at nutrition. I'm too busy, I'm on the run, and I don't eat enough vegetables, and I certainly don't eat enough fruit. And when I take Balance of Nature, I can feel good that I've done something for myself that I can actually control. So take control. Get Balance of Nature.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Imagine what your future looks like. Is the picture a little blurry? Hey, it's Sean Thompson here for Alpha Wealth Group. When we look ahead, we're visualizing where we want to be, and for retirement, that can be hard without a written financial plan. Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help you bring your retirement picture into focus. For decades, Tom has been crafting customized financial strategies. His goal is to help you protect your savings, grow your wealth, and create an income strategy you cannot outlive. If you're nearing or already in retirement, it's time to get your plan on paper. So bring your readers and let's take a look at it closely. Call Tom at 630-934-1855 and schedule a complimentary retirement consultation. There is no cost. There is no obligation. This is a chance to get a clearer view of your retirement. The number again is 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Sean Thompson here. If you're a small business owner or you make the marketing decisions or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up. Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway. And this year, we are helping to raise money for the children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food. Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during the season of economic decline, unemployment, and the rising food prices. Our friends at Food for the Poor are working with their partners on the ground to provide life-saving food. And here's how your business can be a part of this solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. And AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., Monday through Friday, at no additional cost to you. It's the best deal in all of Chicagoland radio. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Natowski, one of my favorite people, at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951. Or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
AM 560, The Answer.
Talking about Jonathan Honig, our last guest, and he's talking about can you really love a dog? And that book is available at Amazon. He's such a good guy and smart. But in my house right now, there's just ridiculous going on because you may recall, and I don't expect everybody to listen every day or to hang on to every word we say. I know you're busy, and heck, man, I'm just a fill-in guy, a Foster fill-in, if you will. But yesterday, a caller called in and said, "Hey, Ray, I met you at a party in Naperville. All the guys at the party were talking about your girlfriend, who is absolutely stunning. I mean, this woman, she should be on TV. She should be a model. She's a good, God-fearing, conservative Christian woman with principles and values. What's she doing with me? I have no idea. But we rescued 2 dogs from Paws, Chicago. And I'll never forget the day we rescued the dog. And if you're thinking about an animal and you want one of these Labradoodles or boutique dogs, think twice before you do that. Because a lot of these breeders, you don't know what you're getting. And there's so many pets that need to be helped out, and there's so many good shelters, whether that's Rover Rescue or Senior Rescues here in the Chicagoland area or Paws Chicago or anywhere. So we go to get this dog that she wants, and it's a pit bull, and she wants a pit bull because that's a dog that she's always had. And we meet this guy named Mark Lucas down at Paws Chicago. He's a wonderful man, and he's telling me about this dog that she wants named Marcy. And my girl's just like, we need to save Marcy. Marcy needs us. And I go and I meet Marcy. I am not a big dog guy, and I don't necessarily want a dog that if it latches down to my leg will take the leg. And I know that people love pit bulls. I get it. My girl's family has a lot of them. That's all they've ever had. But when Mark told me, this dog's got anxiety, it's got some issues, and when it sees another dog, it doesn't necessarily take its aggression out on the other dog, it takes the aggression out on you. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm not made for this, but we want to save and we want to rescue an animal. And I used to think that term was so dumb, rescue an animal. What was it, out on an iceberg? How did you rescue it? But now I am a complete rescue guy, and I'm sold on it. So we get these... We get this other dog that was in the Oprah Winfrey room. She's got her own room down there. Say what you want about Oprah, but she's good to Chicago shelter pets. And we find this little black, I call it a boutique mutt. It's like a terrier mix, and its name is Tyrone. And I'm like, I want to see Tyrone. So we adopt Tyrone. Sometime later, we adopt Hutchie, the dog I love so muchy. And these dogs have chiropractors. When we go on a walk, the dogs have little legs, so they can only go so far before my girl puts them in a stroller, and we walk these dogs in a stroller around the neighborhood. And I used to think that if you can't spot that guy, you are that guy. And I used to kind of hide my head a little bit. I'm like, damn it, I'm walking dogs in a stroller. But now the one dog is having some kind of neck issue. So... she tells me, hey, can you please go in the spare bedroom and take the bed apart and put the mattress on the floor, because I don't want the little black dog, Ty, to be jumping up and off the bed. It's hurting its neck, and I'm going to sleep on the floor with the mattress on the floor. It looks like, it looks like we're living in a kibbutz, and that's what we've got going on in the spare room. And because the dog has the neck issues from jumping up and down on the tall bed, which is I don't know why, in a couple more years, I'm not going to be able to get on this bed. One of those sleep number beds, it's fantastic. But now the dog has a chiropractor. I can't be the only one. Tell me I'm not the only one in Chicago, or the only one right now that has a dog that goes to a chiropractor. Justin, have you heard about this? Never? You got to talk back to me. I need somebody to bounce off of in here.
I've never heard of that. That's insane.
So the dog goes to the chiropractor, and I forget the dog's the woman's name. She's in Naperville, down off Ogden Avenue. Lovely lady, but she adjusts the dog just like you would get adjusted. And that's what I'm going through right now. So not only does my beautiful girlfriend, who I don't know is with me, does she not sleep with me anymore? She sleeps in the kibbutz. With the mattress on the floor with our dog that has neck issues, and then the other dog sleeps with me. I feel like there's been division in the family, but here's the thing. These dogs, the Ty, the one, they both have the chiropractor, but Ty was used as a bait dog in pit bull fighting, and he's got little nips taken out of his ear, so it was our conjecture that these dogs had such a horrible life for their first 4 or 5 years that we were going to do everything we could to make their life better from here on out, and hopefully we've done that. So if you want, it's can you really love a dog? The answer to that is a resounding yes. And if you're thinking about one in the future, for the love of God, adopt, don't shop. And that book, by the way, is by Jonathan Honig, and you can find that at Amazon. You don't necessarily have to love it as much as we do, and you don't have to spend as much money necessarily as we do. I'm like, the dog doesn't have to go to a chiropractor. Why don't I just take that little massage thing you have upstairs, or whatever that is, and we can use that to rub the dog's neck, and I'll put a little icy hot on it. I'll save you $70. What do you think? It's Ray Stevens on the way. We're going to talk about Eric Adams on restricting the time and the place of these buses bringing migrants into New York City, one of those sanctuary cities. I never thought I'd see the day where they're all fighting with each other, and I'll give you my theory as to why they're all turning on the Biden administration. Right now, though, let's send it to news at 6:30 on AM 560, and Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 39 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The Biden administration is sending $250 million in military aid to Ukraine. The State Department on Wednesday announced what's expected to be the last aid package for Ukraine until Congress approves the administration's funding requests. The Michigan Supreme Court has ruled that Donald Trump can remain on the state's 2024 presidential primary ballot. The court on Wednesday rejected an appeal to kick the former president off the ballot using the insurrection clause. 2 people are hurt following a hit and run in downtown Chicago. Police say a man and woman were crossing the street early this morning in the 700 block of North Clark Street when they were hit. The driver did not stop, and the 2 are hospitalized in fair condition. News is a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. You can now enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer. Listen now at danandamy247.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4 right here on AM 560. The Answer.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for several years, and I feel the energy level of 27. I endorse it, I believe in it, and I would recommend it.
My name is Barbara, and I'm a registered nurse, and I take Balance of Nature. I really love gardening. I love being outdoors, and I love watching things grow. Gardening is just kind of an extension of enjoying nature. You get the sunlight, you get the breeze, you listen to the birds. It's the whole thing. I believe in Balance of Nature, and I really love it.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Sean Thompson here to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign. Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. Right now, throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, millions are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices. Many families are simply skipping meals for a day at a time because they can't afford to buy food. The only thing between families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food. But in order to get this food to those who need it most, Food for the Poor needs your help. Right now, thanks to a generous match for a one-time gift of just $80, you can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year. To make the gift, simply call 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673. Visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That's 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. And thanks in advance for your generosity.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. Delays building on the Stevenson inbound Ashland into the Dan Ryan. Slow traffic on the exit ramp. On the inbound Edens, though, you're fine. Kennedy's still in good shape from O'Hare to downtown. And the Eisenhower, not bad, 25-390 into the post office. Going inbound on the Dan Ryan, a quick trip from 95th Street on in. The Skyway, Ford, and I-57 all cleared. USAPA Lakeshore Drive also looks good, both north and south. No reason to worry if you're traveling out on the tollways. The Tri-State, the Jane Addams, the Veterans Memorial, and the Reagan tollways, all those are clear. Just a heads up in Bensonville, an accident at 83 and Route 390. Traffic is sponsored by Boost Infinite. Boost Infinite's new wireless technology gives you 3 networks for the price of 1 and better service at a lower price. Switch today. Visit boostinfinite.com. That's boostinfinite.com. Boost. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Cloudy skies, rain and drizzle for today and tonight. The high today 40, low tonight 39. Clouds, a bit of morning rain, followed by areas of drizzle tomorrow afternoon, high 43. Sunny Saturday, and the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah, I'm just looking here at states that are increasing their minimum wage. Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Illinois. Illinois minimum wage, $13. You know, it was interesting to watch the kiosks in the McDonald's, and I'm not a big Mickey D guy. I try not to eat processed food, but every now and then in a pinch, if I'm traveling, I will. I'll stop in and grab a fish fillet, or whatever that is, a supposed fish fillet. But they've really done a nice job in their response to these, fast food workers and people wanting, $20 an hour to prepare a meal. And I get it. I mean, I know. These are supposed to be entry-level jobs where you learn a skill and you move on. It's not supposed to be necessarily money that's supposed to sustain you. It's supposed to be that job when you were a kid, you went and you did it. But with the cost of everything being so high, I mean, I understand, but it sure does make it untenable for the mom and pop shops in and around town that are trying to make a go of it with just needing a kid to wash dishes or to deliver food or whatever. And I got to tell you, I tried my best yesterday to leave the radio station and not stop at the. I'm not exactly sure if I pronounced this bakery correct. I want to say it's Jarouche. I may be wrong on that pronunciation. Justin, if you know different, let me know. But I could not drive by. I tried, and then I pulled in. And I thought it's interesting because as I made my way back home yesterday, and I came out of the area where the radio station is, and I kind of hit the Arlington Heights, Elk Grove, Schaumburg area, I was greeted, if you will, by people at, where was I? I was at Bussey and Arlington Heights Road, and then I was at, I guess is it Martingale Drive? I'm not sure if that's the name of it, but I'm getting over to 355. I'm in Elk Grove Village, and at every intersection, there are people asking for money for a surgery for a young lady. And I want to say her name was Amelia or something like that. And it just caught me as odd. And I asked the guys in the control room if they've seen that before, and they say they have. So I do a little search, and it seems like in this area per se, there is a certain amount of people that if they go to the Walmart, to any of the, even IKEA, that they will be approached inside these stores and ask for money for this young lady's surgery. Now, if it is in fact legit, I'd like to know. But I would think my friend Steve Burness over at the Better Business Bureau would say, you may want to look into it. But it certainly struck me as odd yesterday. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that goes, I don't want to help you out. But it just was weird. And with everything that goes on in and around Chicago, man, I tell you, I keep looking forward. I keep my hands on the wheel. Sometimes I keep one hand on the wheel and one over in the side pocket for reasons that I'm sure you can figure out, because you never know what might be going on. And I don't think it's just because of illegals or immigration. I think the whole world has gone crazy. Man, I'm going to tell you a story about a woman, a Naperville woman in Lisle, that is just absolutely unsettling. I almost don't even want to talk about it, but it's a little attaboy to first responders. But first, I wanted to talk about Eric Adams, mayor of New York. Now what they've done is they've placed restrictions on when buses can arrive in New York City, where they can arrive, because they don't want people being just dropped off and let loose in their city. They want to try to keep an eye on folks. And you know what? We kind of let that go when we let everybody cross that southern border, right? All goes back to the Biden administration. Now, here's my theory, and you can tell me I'm crazy. You can agree or disagree. But you've noticed that all of a sudden, a lot of these mayors of these big Democrats-run cities, Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson, speaking out against the Biden administration. Eric Adams saying this is untenable. We can't do this. Sending migrants to Washington saying that this is on Biden. And on and on and on it goes. I wonder if there's not a coup that's being designed here to say, all right, you know what, Joe? We're going to get you out of running for this office somehow, some way. And they want this guy to go away. How they're going to do it, I really don't know. But it has to happen, I think, in a relative short amount of time with less than a year to go to the election. I think that the Democrats do not want to deal with one Joe and squeaking Kamala. But that's just my man on the grassy knoll wearing a tinfoil hat idea. Eric Adams yesterday on restricting the time and place of the buses with all the people that are coming here to have a white picket fence and to live a better life in a land known as America.
To better coordinate these arrivals today, I'm announcing an executive order requiring charter buses transporting migrants, those often contracted by the state of Texas, to provide 32-hour notice in advance of their arrival into New York City. To make sure we have sufficient staffing, we are also requiring that these charter buses arrive only between 8:30 a.m. and 12 p.m., Monday through Friday, and to only drop off passengers at one spot unless directed otherwise by New York City Emergency Management.
Sure.
Failure to do so result in a Class B misdemeanor, possible fines, lawsuit, and even buses being impounded. We cannot allow buses with people needing our help to arrive without warning at any hour of day and night.
Why? It's a free country. You're a sanctuary city. Give us your tired, your weak. Mr. Lopez Obrador, Mexican president, says he's willing to help limit people crossing Mexico's southern border en route to the U.S. This is some of the progress that was made yesterday when Anthony Blinken and the rest stopped down there and talked to Manuel Lopez Obrador saying, we need some help here. You got to stop these people. But, it could all stop at our southern border if when Governor Greg Abbott puts up the some people called them buoys, and this guy comes up with some good plans. If you want to keep people out, You've got to be able to put up some kind of deterrent, whether it's those containers, whether it's the buoys that they put up in the river. And I thought the buoys, when I thought about it in theory, I thought, it's probably like one of those, when you're a kid and you're swimming and you're in the lanes at high school or at the gym and you've got those dividers that keep you in your swim lane. I thought, it's just one of those bigger. But no, they were buoys. But then the federal government says, that's unconstitutional. It's unfair. You got to take them down. What a bunch of crap. So now you got these guys bitching and moaning about people coming, and you can only send the buses at certain times. We may impound the buses. You can't stop street takeovers. You can't stop people from riding their mini bikes in your town, Eric Adams, Mayor Adams. And the same goes for you, Mayor Brandon Johnson. The cities, if you haven't been into downtown Chicago lately, it looks like, if you ever watch a NASCAR race and at the end, the driver always does a burnout and they leave the donuts all over the road. Almost every intersection in Chicago looks like that. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm here to tell you that if you drive in and out of the city, and I know a lot of people don't go down there anymore, it's just, it is out of control. And then people will yell at me and say, oh, no, it's not. You're just saying that because you're part of that conservative media. BS. It's nuts down there. I want to go to Larry in Carroll Stream. Larry at 312-642-5600. Larry, help me out with the pronunciation of the bakery.
Hey, good morning. It's spelled weird, but it's pronounced Jaroche.
Jaroche.
Like a long O. and it's been there over 60 years.
Yeah.
The real bad part about it is when you drive into their parking lot, you automatically put on 15 pounds.
You know, I did a social media post saying that I was going to be here working for Dan and Amy, and that social media post has been seen over 200,000 times. I went in there yesterday just to grab a couple of cookies. You would think that maybe they would have been comped. I gave those people a lot of love. Jarosz. Is that Polish?
I think it's Polish, German, and I want to say Ukrainian or Latvian, something like that. I don't pay attention to that. I just pay attention to the 15 pounds.
No, Larry. Well, Larry, go for a walk, for God's sake. You got to even it out. You can't just eat. You got to get some activity in there. You have to have the, if you're going to do something bad, you have to put some good in after it, right?
That's probably true.
All right, Larry, I appreciate your call. Yeah, my neighbor Roy Halters, that lives next door to me, every Christmas when he comes over, he's got a box from Jarosz. And that box has gone lickety-split. It's good stuff. And you know, my folks were from Brookfield and Berwyn, and they used to go to Vasecki's, and Vasecki's Bakery just closed after years and years and years. I'm telling you, you know, there's some institutions around this town that are, you got to visit them and you got to support them so they don't go away. It's 6:46. It's Ray Stevens in for Dan and Amy. It's AM 560. Chicago's Morning Answer. Good morning.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Does your home feel chilly? Utility bills seem high? You wonder if your home is properly insulated? Hi, I'm Roy Spencer of Permaseal. For several years, we've been insulating basements and crawl spaces to make floors warmer and reduce utility bills. Now I'm very excited to tell you we are moving on up to the attic, the #1 source of energy loss in most homes. We are, of course, following the same Permaseal commitment to doing the job right. If you're not testing, you are guessing. So our process starts with a blower door test, which will measure the actual size of the energy loss in your home. Then using thermal cameras, we identify the precise location of the air leaks. We seal those with an expansive spray foam, and only then do we add additional insulation if needed. Bring your house up to code, and more importantly, make your home feel more comfortable and substantially lower utility bills. As always, we provide free, honest estimates by trained professionals. Call 800-421-7325. That's 800-421-SEAL, or visit permaseal.net.
Long day. Time to charge up.
Hey, just like my delivery truck.
Even kids know to keep business moving forward, it's time to make the switch to electric vehicles. Whether you have one van or a whole fleet of trucks, resources are available to help you make the changes that make sense.
Let's go.
Beep, beep.
Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
And this is Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. We wish you the very best this holiday season from Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for several years, and I feel the energy level of 27. I endorse it, I believe in it, and I would recommend it.
My name is Barbara, and I'm a registered nurse, and I take Balance of Nature. I really love gardening. I love being outdoors, and I love watching things grow. Gardening is just kind of an extension of enjoying nature. You get the sunlight, you get the breeze, you listen to the birds. It's the whole thing. I believe in Balance of Nature, and I really love it.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain.
That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Stop overpaying for wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk saves the average family about $1,000 a year on the most dependable 5G network in the U.S. You can get unlimited talk, text, and plenty of high-speed data for just $30 a month. If you're ready to cut your wireless bill in half, dial pound 250 and say keyword spend less, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250 and say spend less, and make the switch to Pure Talk today.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner, and thank you so much for your generosity.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah, before we went to break, we played a segment of Eric Adams, New York mayor, saying that we need to know when these buses are coming. And I hate to talk about this all the time, but this is big news, and it's going on close to home. I mean, obviously it's going on in Chicago. We know that. I work my gig in Kansas City. Every week I have on Representative Mark Alford. He's from the 4th District of Missouri, and he's reporting via his Twitter 248,000 encounters at the southern border in December alone. That is a high number. Elburn, Illinois. 2 suburbs have voted in favor of new legislation designed to stop buses from dropping off migrants without notice. I mean, are you kidding me? You make it all the way to Eagle Pass, Texas, and you get sent to Elburn? What the hell is there to? Hey, I'm going to tell you, if you go to Elburn and you get dropped off there, if you have any money on your person, go to Ream's Meat Market. They've got some good stuff right there. If you've never been, and then go to Knucklehead Saloon. I'm a big guy. I love Elburn. If you can't make it to LaFox, go to Elburn. Wow, Elburn's now in the crosshairs. Elburn Village Board voted unanimously Wednesday night to ban unscheduled migrant bus drop-offs. Now, I guess out there in Elburn, there on Route 47, it's probably easier to spot a bus coming through your town than it is if you're on the Eisenhower at Damon, heading towards the Greyhound bus terminal in Chicago. Elburn ordinance, like most of the others passed, require buses dropping off folks to have a permit. Elburn demands 5 days advance notice of a bus arrival. Yeah, I guess, if you stop and think about it, man, there's a train station there. That's been there now a few years. You get on that train and you take that to Chicago and you're on your way. Although I got to tell you, if you're coming here, why go to Chicago? Why not spend some time out in Elburn or LaFox, St. Charles, Geneva? Batavia, you want to stay away from Batavia. Batavia doesn't have anything you need. Batavia is no good. That's because I live there. Stay out of there. Village officials reported last week a busload of 38 what they call asylum seekers, or as what Dan and Amy listeners would say, illegals, were dropped off. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Other towns that Had folks stopping by were Aurora, Fox River Grove, Rosemont, Elmhurst, University Park. What do they all have in common? They all have in common a way to get to Chicago on a train. I wondered, do they? Where do they get the money to ride the train, or do they just jump on? Jump on top of it, or in a boxcar like they do when they reach the said southern border. But man, it's something. You know, this is what you get. This is what you voted for. And I know not you. I know not you. I get it. I know who you are. I know the makeup, the cosmetic makeup of a WIND AM 560 listener. I got it. And by the way, you know, I want to give some love to some people that I work with from time to time. And I know that they get talked about on this radio station. One is Jeannie Ives. I know Jeannie Ives is on this radio station all the time. But if you've never, visited her website or searched out Breakthrough Ideas, or maybe been to one of her meetings on a Tuesday night, you should go. And then if you are out in the Kane County area, a friend of mine, I don't know if he wants me to say his name or not, but I'm gonna, Dean White, introduced me to the Three-Headed Eagle Alliance. And there's folks out there in your neighborhood. You got to get involved because, you know, we talk about all of this stuff that goes on, and you talk about migration, and you kind of try to make light of it because it's such a serious issue. And really, I don't know where this ends because it's just such a cluster that you got to somehow, you know, for me, I've got to somehow say, okay, one, how do I not let it drive me crazy because you can't? And two, how do I help? How do I get involved? How do you get involved with elections? Well, the two things that I just mentioned can help you do that. You can get involved with, being a poll watcher. And that's important because you can't just leave it up to other people. And the Three-Headed Eagle Alliance, if you're out in Kane County, in DuPage County, Breakthrough Ideas, Jeannie will get you set up with what you have to do and who you have to talk to get involved. Because if you just sit here and you listen to the radio and you bitch and moan, you're not going to get anything done. Get involved. And conversely, get involved in the city, too. Not only to watch stuff go on and affect change, but to help people out. Because, you know, by and large, as I talked to Ray Lopez yesterday, you will find that there's more good than there is bad, and I think that's something you gotta keep in the back of your mind. Man, this story out of DuPage County kills me. I like Attorney Bob Berlin. He gets things done out there when it comes to shoplifting or anything else. But this story surrounds a 51-year-old Naperville woman charged with attempted first-degree murder for stabbing two young girls that she was babysitting. This was last month. On November 17th, Lisle police responded to a home on Matson Lane for a report of a suicide attempt. So this 51-year-old Naperville woman tries to kill herself after she stabs these two little kids she's babysitting. One was 1 year old, one was 4. Now, the meaning of me telling you this story isn't to horrify you or to disgust you. It's to show you what our men and women that work as first responders go through on a daily basis. As Bob Berlin said, it's obviously extremely disturbing, but the fact that the Lisle police went out there and dealt with this and handled it in such a timely manner when they figured out that there were kids in there, they went into the house without hesitation, and he just wanted to commend them for executing their job skillfully and professionally. This crazy woman is due back in court on January 12th. But, man, you know, we talk about police all the time. And not every one of these men and women are on the up and up. Not all of them are good, but, man, a majority of them are. And a majority of them really need to be given a little pat on the back because they're doing a job that you and I don't want to do. I mean, there's tools in the media industry. There's radio guys that are scumbags. I mean, it's like that anywhere. But it certainly seems to me that whenever we talk about a bad cop, it just really throws a bad light on the rest of them, and it just isn't that way. So a little attaboy and a pat on the back, not only to State's Attorney Bob Berlin doing a great job in DuPage County, actually prosecuting crime. Can you believe that? But to the Lisle Police Department that went in there on that situation back on November 17th and without hesitation did their job, and that's what they would call it. They don't want to be called heroes. They would say, Ray, we were doing our job. That's all we did. But, hey, to the Lisle Police Department and first responders for just going into a horrific scene and taking care of it. My name is Ray Stevens, and here for a couple more hours for Dan and Amy. Dan and Amy will be back on Tuesday, well rested and ready to go. Right now, let's go to Fox News. It is 7 o'clock at WIND Chicago.
They beat him to it. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Republicans in Colorado have filed their own appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, trying to keep former President Trump on the 2024 ballot there, even before the Republican frontrunners expected appeal.
The narrow ruling that disqualified Trump was made under the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and related to the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. The state GOP is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn that ruling, arguing that it disregards the First Amendment rights of political parties to select the candidates of their choice.
Fox's Gary Baumgarten. The former president has not been charged with insurrection, which that constitutional provision specifies. Michigan's Supreme Court refused to consider an attempt to take the Trump name off the 2024 ballot there. Trying to stop a record surge of migrants coming to America illegally, the Secretaries of State and Homeland Security went to Mexico for talks with that country's president, who says they made important agreements without detailing them.
So what exactly does the U.S. want? Number one, resume deportation buses and flights to Central America. The U.S. wants those migrants detained before reaching the U.S. border. Resume policing the railroads. They call it the beast. It is the quickest and cheapest way north. Finally, deny them the visas that allow them to transit Mexico legally.
That's Fox's William Lajeunesse. Mexico is removing an encampment of migrants across the river from Brownsville, Texas. Senate Republicans are holding up more military aid to Ukraine, demanding stricter border policies. And House Republicans also have a new angle in their Biden investigations if the president tried to obstruct Congress.
Hunter Biden appeared outside of the U.S. Capitol on December 13th, the same day House Republicans sat inside a committee room, waiting and waiting for him to show up and answer questions. Now, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, and Oversight Committee, James Comer, say they have reason to believe that the president encouraged Hunter to skip the deposition.
That's David Spunt. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 39 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The Colorado Republican Party is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn a state ruling that keeps former President Trump off of the 2024 ballot. Last week, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that Trump was ineligible because of January 6th. The state GOP made its announcement yesterday, the same day that the Michigan High Court ruled that Trump can stay on the ballot. Authorities are investigating a deadly stabbing in suburban Des Plaines. Police say a man stabbed another man during a fight last night inside of a Burger King on South Elmhurst Road. The man who stabbed the other took off and remains on the loose. The victim was stabbed multiple times and died at the hospital. Well, Google is out with its annual report on what we were researching or looking up or Googling for this year. When it came to actors, the most searched for was Jeremy Renner, who was seriously injured New Year's Day in a snowplow accident. That was followed by Jamie Foxx, who was hospitalized with an undisclosed medical condition, and country music star Jason Aldean with the #1 hit Try That in a Small Town, which gained widespread attention over the summer. And in the #2 spot was rapper Ice Spice. And the Powerball jackpot is rolling over again with no grand prize winner Wednesday night. Already at $685 million at the time of the drawing, it now jumps to $760 million. The cash option on that works out to nearly $383 million. The next drawing is on Saturday. News is a service of In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His Word each Sunday morning right here on AM 560 The Answer. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station, but now there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online on the app, TuneIn.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well,
trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When you need to ship sensitive or large and heavy equipment, the DC Group in Elk Grove has the experience and expertise to handle the biggest and most complicated jobs. DC Export and Domestic Packing Inc. was founded in 1974 by the husband and wife team of Dominic and Carol Cacciamiglio. Beginning in a building not much bigger than a 4-car garage, the company now boasts 2 Chicago area facilities totaling 100,000 square feet, plus a 45,000 square foot FTZ warehouse in Greenville, South Carolina. Through these facilities and their long-standing agents, they offer nationwide packing, crating, container, and flat rack loading unloading, as well as warehousing, all with heavy lift capabilities. Other products available include custom-made boxes, crates, skids, and corrosion control solutions. DC Transport was founded in 1991 to meet the growing needs of their customers and provide transportation services throughout North America. From container drayage to super heavy haul loads, DC Transport can help you move just about anything. Go to dcexport.com for more info and to get in touch. dcexport.com.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. Problems on the Tri-State northbound. It is temporarily closed between 127th and Cicero. This is due to an accident solid all the way from Kedzie. I will let you know as soon as that reopens. On the inbound Edens, though, trouble-free conditions. Kennedy moving quickly from O'Hare into downtown, and no reason to worry going in on the Eisenhower 390 into the post office. Looks good. Stevenson 25, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. If you're traveling inbound on the Dan Ryan, now 13 minutes, 95th on in. Tight Cermak to Roosevelt, express lanes in, slowing 35th into the Chinatown feeder. I-57 and the Ford look good, as does DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Jane Addams, Reagan, and the Veterans Memorial in good shape. Traffic is a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. You can now enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer. Listen now at danandamy247.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Cloudy skies, rain and drizzle for today and tonight. The high today 40, low tonight 39. Clouds, a bit of morning rain, followed by areas of drizzle tomorrow afternoon, high 43. Sunny Saturday, and the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Not many places I can hook up the trailer and head with my my snowmobiles to do a little ice oval testing or to do a little racing this year. So I was thinking maybe I'd go out to Colorado, but what they pulled last week with Trump, and I've got to boycott it. So that's, I can't drink Bud Light, which I never did anyway. I can't go to Target, okay? And I can't now go to Colorado. But Lauren Boebert is in the news again. She's been in the news a lot in the last half year at least. Is it just me, guys? She kind of does something for me. She's nuts, man. I think it's the fact that she's like I know that her former soulmate, her husband was I think they were Texas ranchers. So I like that. I like that kind of lifestyle. Doesn't necessarily mean that that this is my kind of person. But she says now she is entering the crowded Republican primary of retiring Representative Ken Buck's seat. That's the eastern side of the state of Colorado. Okay, she's leaving her 3rd district because she says that the people that just want to can her and get rid of her are all being financed with George Soros money and with what she likes to call Aspen money. And if you've ever been out to Colorado, I'm here to tell you, it is where the hip meet the trip. It is very, I mean, obviously by way of what we saw with them and their Supremes voting to get one Donald J. Trump off the ballot. It's very liberal, but man, those mountain towns are something. But Lauren Brobert, yeah, what was it? Was it Beetlejuice? Was that the play that she was at with her new boy toy, and they were vaping and ostensibly all over each other? And at what point are you not like, okay, yeah, people might notice me. I'm an elected official, and here I am. They call it groping. But you might want to tamp that down a little bit and save that for later. But, once you get on the whiskey, weird things can happen. Coming up this morning at 7:35, we are going to talk with Alderman Anthony Napolitano. I like to just call him Naps. This guy comes from a family of firefighters and policemen, which I always say, well, what do you guys do? Just sit around and fight with each other? And now he's a guy that's in the know in Chicago. We'll talk to him about the migration issue. We'll talk to him about Chicago crime. He's always outspoken on what's going on with Michigan Avenue and some of the things down there, and what this city has seen in the last couple of years, really since COVID. It just hasn't been good. When I walk down Oak Street and I see a Spirit Halloween store and a Crazy Kaplan's Fireworks Depot, that lets me and leads me to believe that Chicago ain't what it once was, but it still is a beautiful, great Midwestern city and one of the best around, at least in my opinion. Does it get a little dangerous from time to time? Sure it does, but doesn't everywhere. I'm trying to do my best tap dance to say that I still love the city in which I come from. Our phone number here on Chicago's Morning Answer, 312-642-5600. Terry is in Rogers Park. She's been holding very patiently. Terry, good morning.
Hi. I'd like to know why aren't the leaders of South American countries capable of making their people a decent country to live in? Our American government should find a way to make them better at helping their people.
Well, I think that would be. I think that's part of the reason why Mayorkas and the contingents that went to Mexico yesterday to meet on migration had a very productive meeting. And Terry, I appreciate your phone call. But yeah, you bring up a good point. I mean, if Mexico isn't what you see on the border, whether it's Eagle Pass or whether it's Nogales when you're near Arizona or anywhere in Texas. I have a friend that lives in Cabo San Lucas, and the way they live there, and I understand that there's a certain amount of money that's there, and my friend is very well to do. But even on the outskirts of Cabo and what you wouldn't consider to be the garden spot of Mexico, it's still okay. But we know that it's run by the cartels. We know there's a lot of drug issue there, and it's tough. But and I will tell you that sometimes I'm a little uneasy because I'm walking around Cabo with my buddy who probably has more money in his front left pocket than I have in the bank, and I'm like, you are going to get us killed. Oh no, there's nothing to worry about down here. He is so at ease where he lives and in his area. He is not concerned about anything. And I'm like, at the time I was working for CBS Radio, and I'm like, well, yeah, they're not going to take you. They're going to take me and hold me hostage and say, you know what, we're not going to, we're going to trade you for, I don't even know. I can't even come up with an anchor that works for CBS. Erica Sargent. I don't even watch CBS, but I'm saying, there's always that fear in my head that we're going to get kidnapped. But the things that are going on with this administration and with this town and with this mayor are just untenable. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, I know he's not the mayor anymore. He's a former naval officer, and I should be more respectful of him. But I just can't find respect for this guy. He's the transportation secretary, and he's the guy out there saying that, America, you are ready for the EV change. You're ready to trade in your combustion engine automobiles, because once you go electric, you never go back.
The share of EVs has been dramatically increasing every single year, and that's continuing. Now, our goal is by the end of this decade to be about half and half. I don't know a lot of people who think that Americans in 2050 are still going to be driving that old technology, that combustion technology that we inherited from the 20th century.
Americans
but the big
like
question is, well, no, you're not going to meet a lot of people who ever go back after they've gone electric, and I think that really tells you something.
That guy is so full of crap. Here, if you have an EV, first of all, I said earlier when I was talking to Jonathan Honig earlier this morning that I did, my Ford dealer asked me, I work with a Ford dealer out of Roselle, Illinois, Friendly Ford. They're great people. And Matt, the owner over there, said, hey, take this EV and tell me if you like it and tell me what you think about it. And I did like driving it. It was a really nice put-together vehicle. I know people don't like to call it a Mustang, but, just from fit and finish and things like that. And I host a show on another radio station in Chicago that is auto-centric, and we get to drive a lot of cars and do a lot of cool things. I will tell you that I didn't hate it, but it's not practical for what I need. I have a mother that lives in northern Wisconsin. I can't get to northern Wisconsin in a Ford Mach-E on a single charge. I'd have to stop somewhere and take a day or two to charge it, or however long you charge it. I got in the vehicle, and on full charge, it was 244 miles. And then if you put your foot into it and you have it in unbridled mode, which makes it go extra fast, that goes way down. So listen, is there a spot for him? Hey man, if you want to use it as a grocery getter, or maybe have it as getting the kids in and around town, I can see where it would work for that. But I want to tell you this as well. I know this, and I have this on good authority, is that if you go to trade in your EV at a car dealer, they are immediately sending that thing to CarMax. They don't want it on their lot. They can't get rid of the ones they have. The average time for an EV on the lot in Chicago, and this is a fact, is 190 days on average. So what happened, Mayor Pete, is this. The people that wanted EVs bought them, and now they can't get rid of them. And now for the first time ever, you can go to your local, well, I know this for a fact, you can go to your local Ford dealer and you can lease an EV because they can't sell them. And if you can disagree with me on that, or you have a different point of view, let me know. But those are the numbers. So to say that once people go electric, they never go back is absolutely ridiculous. They take too long to charge. You have to have a stage 1 charger in your house. Is there a spot for them in the future? Maybe. But man, it costs money and petroleum to make plastic. It's batteries are not eco-friendly. And then when you get rid of them, what do? Send them out to Amy Jacobson's place in Utah? You open up a hole in the side of a mountain and just put them in there? Let them worry about it on later. This whole thing that it's all better for the environment, it's just a bunch of crap. You can't run these things without coal, and you can't build them without petroleum. So, Mayor Pete, I'm calling BS on you. My name's Ray Stevens, in for Dan and Amy. Hey, hang with us. And Napolitano coming up at 7:35. We'll ask him all about the city from his point of view, and maybe he can give us some insight to when it gets better and if it gets better. It's 7:18 right now on AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It's really important that we take care of ourselves for our sake and the sake of our family. Taking Balance of Nature, I just feel better.
I'm active. My wife and I go to the gym 7 days a week. If the weather's nice like a day like this, I ride my bike. I've been taking Balance of Nature for the past 20 years. I won't give it up.
I take Balance of Nature because it makes me feel great. I really thought that they paid people to say that stuff. And then I tried it. I was surprised. Balance of Nature really was the game changer. I'm serious, it works.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code Chicago.
Does your home feel chilly? Utility bills seem high? You wonder if your home is properly insulated? Hi, I'm Roy Spencer of Permaseal. For several years, we've been insulating basements and crawl spaces to make floors warmer and reduce utility bills. Now I'm very excited to tell you we are moving on up to the attic, the #1 source of energy loss in most homes. We are, of course, following the same Permaseal commitment to doing the job right. If you're not testing, you are guessing. So our process starts with a blower door test, which will measure the actual size of the energy loss in your home. Then using thermal cameras, we identify the precise location of the air leaks. We seal those with an expansive spray foam, and only then do we add additional insulation if needed. Bring your house up to code, and more importantly, make your home feel more comfortable and substantially lower utility bills. As always, we provide free, honest estimates by trained professionals. Call 800-421-7325. That's 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here. And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway. And this year, we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
AM 560, The Answer.
That's 7:23 on a Thursday in a week that's short because of the old holiday, garbage pickup. Everything's screwed up. We'll get her back to normal next week. No, we won't. We'll take Monday off, and then it'll be screwed up again for another week. But Tuesday, Dan and Amy, and the love those two share for each other, back on the radio here at AM 560, back Tuesday. The number, 312-642-5600. You can call and or text. Larry is joining us this morning in the Garden City of Elmhurst, Illinois. Larry, you want to talk about EVs. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Hey, I was reading in Tesla's book thing online here that it takes 7 years to be totally emissions-free on their batteries. Batteries are only good for 10 years in drier areas, but this isn't a dry area here. And I got 3 cars. I got an F-150, a Jeep Rubicon, and a Toyota Corolla. I'm never going to buy a
Never, ever. What in the world are you doing with an F-450?
No, F-150.
Oh, 150. Okay, I thought 450. I was like, man, you're my hero. Yeah, no, I you know, it's. I mean, listen. Is there a spot for him? Maybe in the city. I could see it, but for me personally, it just doesn't work for me personally. But that doesn't mean whole hill of beans. Some people love him. I get it. And Tesla, you got to give Elon Musk some credit. And one, thanks for saving Twitter. But two, he built a nice vehicle, and he did it in a relative short amount of time. But I appreciate your call, Larry, there in Elmhurst. But you can't just. I don't quite understand how this and it really is the Biden administration, and it is the push of the liberal elite, if you will. I don't know what skin they have in the game to say we don't need coal, we don't need to drill for oil, we don't need to be energy efficient, we don't even want natural gas anymore. But we're going to outlaw electric or gas stoves. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy to think on this spinning ball, and it takes a superb amount of hubris to think that we've affected climate change by what we've done to this earth. And listen, are there other parts of the world that do a lot more harm than we do here in America? Absolutely. We've made it so hard for business to succeed here. It's why we lost U.S. Steel last week. It's all going to go overseas where they can skirt all the EPA regulations and make a dollar or two. That's just a fact. We're talking about Pete Buttigieg. He said earlier in the week that once you go electric, don't worry, you're never ever going to come back. You're going to be loving these electric vehicles. Plug them in, go your 244 miles. But once you get halfway to your destination, good luck finding a place to charge. Will that change? Of course it will. It'll change as this thing goes on and on. I know that when I was shopping out at the outlet mall out west near Aurora, that you can stop and you can plug your car in there and give her a charge, and they give you great spots to park. And I've also driven the Ford F-150 Lightning. Again, really well put together vehicle. I'm a Ford guy, if you can't tell. But do I need one? Not necessarily. Nikki Haley, not doing too bad in the polls. I mean, let's face it. These folks are all a runner-up to a guy named Donald J. Trump, and he will be on the ballots. Don't let these things in Colorado get you down. Michigan, used common sense yesterday, and they said, we're not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Trump's on the ballot. We'll leave it alone. They're all diversions to let you know. There always will be a diversion when Hunter gets in a little more trouble, or when they're coming out with that list of people that were at the Jeffrey Epstein's island, or if the economy's not doing good, or if you have 248,000 encounters in the month of November or December at the border. These are things that will be a distraction. But yesterday, Nikki Haley was asked, can you tell me what the cause of the Civil War is? And here you go. Tell me what you think of this. Applause. Your question now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Please, what was the cause of the United States Civil War?
Oops.
Well, don't come with an easy question or anything. I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. What do you think the cause of the Civil War was? I'm sorry?
Okay, there's an uneasy pause.
I mean, I think it always comes down to the role of government and what the rights of the people are.
Yeah.
And I will always stand by the fact that I think government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all.
The government was there to secure the rights of people, which I guess is kind of half right. But it's almost like, when you're watching the beauty pageant, and Miss North Carolina gets up there, and they ask her about, world peace, and she says, well, the thing about world peace is I like world peace, and we should all have world peace. Here's the world peace, and everybody applauds. Well, that's kind of how that answer went. But, and people would disagree, and I know Nikki Haley she's a smart woman. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you an ambassador, a former, governor, she is a smart woman, but she stepped in it there. And I don't think you ever do yourself a favor when somebody asks you a question and you go, well, you know what? Hey, what do I think about world peace? Enough about me. What do you think about world peace? What do you think about the Civil War? And there were people that say that, it wasn't all about slavery. And you'd be right, because it wasn't all about slavery. But I bet you look, and that's the top two, probably the top one. If you look back, if they're not teaching your kids this in history, send them back to school. And let's face it, they're not teaching kids this in history. They're teaching kids in history that if they want, they can identify as a fire hydrant. And therein lies part of the problem. But state rights, was there a cash grab for Eli Whitney's cotton gin and the economy of the South? Absolutely. But by and large, they wanted human rights for people that were enslaved. And not everybody in the South, and this is the thing, everybody thinks, oh, my goodness, well, if you were from the South, you had a plantation, you had an antebellum house, and you had slaves in the backyard. That was not necessarily true. Not everybody owned slaves, but, you've got to recognize slavery. You got to. You may want to do that. On the way, let's speak with the alderman from the Fighting 41st here in Chicago. Really a good man. Anytime I need a hand with a charity, or something that I need to happen in Chicago, Anthony Napolitano always comes through. Let's talk with Naps next here on WIND. It's 7:30, and Nikki Whaley with a news update.
Good morning. It's 39 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The mayors of Chicago, New York City, and Denver are teaming up to push for federal support in dealing with the migrant crisis. All three took part in a virtual press conference yesterday. Mayor Johnson, Mayor Eric Adams, and Mayor Johnston are urging the feds to step up resources as the cities are close to capacity. During yesterday's meeting, the mayor of New York announced an executive order requiring charter bus companies transporting migrants to the city to provide 32 hours notice about their arrival. And the search is underway for a person who tried to kidnap a teen in Chicago's Albany Park neighborhood. Police say a 14-year-old was standing on the sidewalk yesterday in the 5400 block of North Kimball Avenue when someone exited his vehicle, grabbed the victim in a headlock, and attempted to force them inside the vehicle. The teen broke free and the offender fled northbound on Kimball. News is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Prof University and The Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season.
We're talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food costs.
Food for the Poor is working with local partners to make sure these children and their families get the food they need to survive. And guess what? Your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. And thanks to a generous match, that donation will help feed more than 30 children for an entire year.
When you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
Call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951. Or go to 560theanswer.com and click on the Give Food banner.
It's really important that we take care of ourselves for our sake and the sake of our family. Taking balance of nature, I just feel better.
I'm active. My wife and I go to the gym 7 days a week. If the weather's nice like a day like this, I ride my bike. I've been taking balance of nature for the past 20 years. I won't give it up.
I take balance of nature because it makes me feel great. I really thought that they paid people to say that stuff. And then I tried it. I was surprised. Balance of nature really was the game changer. I'm serious. It works.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century with IoT Smart Connected Scanning. It's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Recent events have reminded us how fragile the stock market and your life savings can be. What would happen to you if you lost 30, 40, 50% or more in the market? It could likely destroy your quality of life and impact your plans for the future. Let this be a wake-up call to sit down and review your financial situation. Take control of your future today and call Wealth Management Group 833-WMG-PLAN or visit investwithwmg.com. All investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel. Not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek taking a look at the road still wide open on the inbound Edens. From Lake Cook Road to Montrose, Kennedy looks good. O'Hare into downtown, no problems. In fact, no problems along the Eisenhower as well, 25 from 390 into downtown. Stevenson, tight Ashland into the Dan Ryan, a little slow on the exit ramp, not too bad though. And the inbound side of the Dan Ryan, 13 minutes, 95th on in. Tri-State northbound slowing Sibley to Cicero, that's stop and go, all due to an earlier accident. The Jane Addams is fine, trouble-free conditions along the Reagan and the Veterans Memorial Tollway as well. Traffic is a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Are you 65 or older and thinking about Medicare? Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today for free Medicare advice. Visit healthinsurancementors.com or call 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551 or healthinsurancementors.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Cloudy skies, rain and drizzle for today and tonight. The high today 40, low tonight 39. Clouds, a bit of morning rain, followed by areas of drizzle tomorrow afternoon, high 43. Sunny Saturday, and the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka. Weekday afternoons at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, we chalk it up now with Alderman of the 41st Ward. Oh, Napolitano slept in again. You know, this is the knock on this guy. I tell him yesterday, he's like, 7:35 for this, fantastic, we're good to go. Gives me the old thumbs up, and I sent him a note, and I said, now, I'm going to remind you because sometimes you forget. I said, put it in the reminders, and nothing. You know, I wonder if the rest of our guests are gonna call him this morning. This morning we're scheduled to have a little a confab with Mayor Brad Stevens. It's 8:05, and Foxfire Restaurant. These are the guys that fought J.B. Pritzker and won in the Illinois Supreme Court. They were just named the Illinois, not the Illinois, but the Certified Angus Beef Steakhouse of the Year. We'll set you up with a little little New Year's Eve party there. Have a little fun. And then at 8:40, we're going to talk about dry January. If you don't know what dry January is, maybe you should. What dry January is just exactly how it sounds. You know, we've pretty much been. We talked about this yesterday. We've pretty much been on a tear since October, Halloween, Thanksgiving, then Christmas, and then Christmas and office parties, and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Festivus and Ramadan and everything else, and then New Year's. We've been eating bad, we've been drinking bad. So dry January is just it's a time for you to say to your liver, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you a little break, and for the month of January, we're not going to drink anything at all. We talk about that this morning with a guest at 8:40. And what's cool about this guest is he has a non-alcoholic beer. And I want to say this guy's out of Naperville. So it's good stuff. It's local. We talk with him at 8:40 this morning. Dry January. Why wouldn't you? Our number here on the Morning Answer is 312-642-5600. Bob has been waiting patiently in Itasca. Bob, I think you wanted to mention or chime in on something I talked about a little bit ago, and that was these poster boards I'm seeing in the northwest suburbs. What's your conjecture, sir?
First of all, can you hear me, Ray?
I can hear you, Bob.
I'm jogging right now. I'm sorry. But I wanted to tell you, when you said that, yesterday I pulled up to Higgins and Arlington Heights Road.
Okay.
And I was approached by that guy with the poster board of the little girl, like in hospital. It looks like she's on life support.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me. I'm always giving to people, helping. But I think, personally, we got to find out. It's like a dog. If you stare at him, he'll keep staring. So I looked straight ahead this time, and he just went up to me and pressed the board to my window.
Yeah. Yeah, don't touch my car. Yeah.
Well, if it's real, I would help.
Yeah.
Definitely help. But hospitals, she's going to get the surgery anyway. You know that. They're not going to just leave her if it's real, because it was awkward.
Yeah.
And you feel bad, but it's awkward. And he's just staring at me for a long time, and thank goodness the light turned green.
Yeah.
But I've seen other people in Addison, Illinois, with poster boards of a picture. And if it's true, it's sad. We don't know anymore. That's the problem, though. In Addison a couple months ago, off of Lake in Addison Road, there was people out there with a poster board of their daughter died, and they need to bury her.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know if it's real.
But here, and here's my question, Bob, and here's the deal. And don't let those geese attack you when you're out running. I can hear them in the background. The thing is that we have ways now. Everybody's connected to the internet. Anybody can set up a GoFundMe. I had a friend that was injured in a horrific snowmobile racing accident 2 weeks ago. And you start out, and the sad thing and the reality of our world is this: if you want to do a GoFundMe and you want to put it on your social medias, for some reason, the social media algorithm will slow down any link that's somebody asking for money or something they think where somebody's trying to make money or sell something. But this guy in 2 weeks made $55,000 in order to fly him home from a hospital in Canada because his insurance wouldn't cover him in a foreign country after this horrific accident. But, we have ways to, like you said, hospital's not going to turn them down. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to get out of my car and I'm going to go up and talk to them, and I'm going to find out, because if they need help, well, we'll help them. There's just no problem with that. Bob, be careful out there jogging. I'm glad you're doing something good for your health this morning. Appreciate your call. 312-642-5600. If you don't know what that conversation was about, yesterday in the northwest suburbs, I just was inundated with people at intersection after intersection after intersection with well-made cardboard signs asking for help for a little girl that needs surgery. And I often will have my friend Steve Burness from the Better Business Bureau on when I do Chicago radio to talk about things that we've got to keep an eye on, because let's face it, every one of us has a target on our back. And he always says the tip-off to the rip-off. Well, the tip-off to the rip-off here is, how big is this family that they've got somebody on every corner in the northwest suburbs? And another thing, one other thing, and one more thing for you people. If you're taking care of elderly parents, and I don't necessarily take care of my mother, and if I said she was elderly, she would smack me. But she's 91 years old. She lives on her own in northern Wisconsin. One of the coolest things she did this past fall was she called me and she said, hey, I was on Facebook Marketplace and I bought a John Deere tractor. I'm like, you did what? She goes, yeah, I bought a tractor. I think I got a good deal on it. And she did. She bought this John Deere tractor with a 48-inch mowing deck for her place up north. 2 years old. We got it for $1,000. It was a steal. She goes, yeah, I think the guy felt sorry for me. So but it was last year, she says to me, she goes, I never got any of my quote-unquote stimulus checks. And I never, my insurance has gone way up. My Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance has gone way up. And I started doing a little looking and digging and checking around, and somebody had grabbed her Social Security number and somehow used her Social Security number on a bank account where they cashed a $200,000 annuity, and it looks like my mom made all this money. So her and she's living on a fixed income, and it was untenable. And I had to go to work, and let me tell you, there's no fun working with the IRS. They're not helpful. It's a horrible organization. And then I had to go to the Social Security office and work with them. And let me tell you something: these government agencies, whew. If you think Chicago's run bad, go into one of those and try to figure that stuff out. But here, when the new year rolls around, make sure that you have all your T's crossed and all your I's dotted as far as your finances and your folks. Keep an eye on that. Make sure you put reminders on your credit card so you get pinged should somebody use it, or should you get pinged if somebody uses your debit card. It is important. Brandon Johnson yesterday making the rounds on CNN, talking to his new friend Poppy Harlow. I think he's actually vying for a gig there. He says that all of this stuff that's going on in Chicago, well, it's just not, it's my favorite line ever. Used to drive me nuts when my kids say it, and it drives me nuts when politicians say it. It's just not fair, and it's not, the new buzzword is sustainable. It's not sustainable. Let's talk about Chicago's crisis, which really shouldn't be a crisis. We're a welcoming city, after all. We love everybody. Hate has no home here. We talk about that next. 7:46 right now. This is Ray for Dan and Amy on AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, my name is Peg. I'm a wife, mother, and grandmother. I love being with family. We have so much fun doing things together, and that is really the priority of my life. Family is so important to me, and I want to stay healthy so that I can continue to do the things that I enjoy doing with all of them. I try and exercise and eat well, and balance of nature just helps me to put it all together and take me over the top. I really am happy that I came across it, and I've been taking it for probably 5 years, and I will continue to take it. I would recommend Balance of Nature. It's so easy to do every day. I feel great, and who doesn't want to feel great?
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. You have a true partnership with a team that is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. There's no better place to be for the holidays than Chicago. Signature Bank is wishing you a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Everyone knows the old saying, nothing lasts forever. Well, whoever said that obviously never bought a timeshare. Not only do your maintenance fees and assessment fees go on forever, they go up forever. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Over 10 years ago, I was a timeshare salesman. But once I saw the dark side of the business, I quit. I started helping folks get out of their timeshares. Since then, we've helped over 30,000 families by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-839-8484. That's 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
In Dinesh D'Souza's new blockbuster movie, Police State exposes the government's plot to control MAGA conservatives.
These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with.
MAGA Republicans threaten the very foundation of our republic.
Mass surveillance, censorship, and armed attacks. There's nowhere to hide.
FBI, we have an arrest warrant.
15 marked units on my property.
Military-styled soldiers pointing an automatic rifle at my head.
Are we becoming a police state?
It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
Directed by Dinesh D'Souza, Debbie D'Souza, and Bruce Shuley, Police State sounds the alarm.
What we need is a person, and then we go find out what crime you did. How did we give the state this kind of power?
Police State, they have their lists. Are you next?
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Police State. Buy it or stream it now at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
Sean Thompson here to tell you about our opportunity to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season. I'm talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are facing the economic decline, the unemployment, the rising food prices. Food for the Poor is working with local partners to make sure these kids and their families get the food they need to survive, and your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. That donation will help feed 30 kids for an entire year. When you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this, simply call one of my favorite people, Ann Jeanette Natowski, 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
AM 560, The Answer.
7:51, Chicago's Morning Answer. Ray Stevens. You can follow me on social media at Ramblin_Ray on Twitter, Ramblin' Ray on Facebook, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you what, you guys have an audience. I gained many a Twitter follower yesterday. And then with that Jonathan Honig, when that guy's on and he tweets, boy, I noticed that these TV guys, they got a large platform. But go ahead and give us a follow. Appreciate you. I do a radio show in Kansas City, and I started there, I want to say it was August. And I do it by way of Chicago, and they know that. I don't try to hide that. The Merriam-Webster's word of the year was authentic, and I try to be authentic, and I try to be honest with what's going on. And my producer, a great guy, they just had their third baby, and I kept telling them, their Chiefs crazy out there, and I had tickets for the Chiefs game and the Packers up at Lambeau. And I said, buddy, you got to come to this game if you've never been to Lambeau. It's a good place to see a game. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the, it's one of the original great places to see football. I'm not a Packer fan by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a Bear fan, but to go there and to know about the Hallis Lombardi tradition and see a Bears-Packer game is cool. So I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll take you up there. It's like, I can't go. My wife's too close to having her baby. And I'm like, I get it. But then I said, this is her third kid. You've done this before. She knows the breathing. She's got the he-who technique down. You've got the playlist. Can't you just send her there should it happen that she has the baby and she can do this on her own, really? I mean, what is there to it? And he decided that wasn't a good answer. That wasn't a good answer, and I said, it's probably best for you if you don't listen to me with the marital advice. Track record and history proves that. But I make a great ex-husband, I'll tell you. And he's now, I think this is going into his 5th week off for his wife having their third child. And I'm not sure if he's, I know that men can chest feed now, and I'm not sure if he's chest feeding this baby or if he actually gave birth to the baby, because I know we can do all of those things now. You just ask any scientist, and they'll tell you that can happen. But it's something because I mean, you can't work in the media industry, and if you're a dude, and take 6 weeks off. I think that's what this leave time is. The Family Leave Act, is it 6 weeks? Is it more? I know I'd like my producer back, but I know there's some new laws taking place, and it will change in Chicago and Illinois on January 1st. And this is the Paid Leave for All Workers Act. I can't see how this works well for an employer. I mean, for the employee, absolutely. New law allows that workers earn up to 40 hours of paid leave over a 12-month period. So you work a year, you get 40 hours of paid leave. Workers can accrue 1 hour of leave for every 40 hours worked. Again, if you're a business owner, let me know how this affects you. 312-642-5600. Who pays for this? Does the employee pay into this, or is this the employer paying for this? See, this is what I don't know. This is why I have you. J.B. Pritzker signed the legislation in March, making Illinois the third state in the nation and first in the Midwest to mandate paid leave for any reason. Most pro-worker state in the nation, says J.B. Pritzker. That's why everybody's leaving it. That's why nobody can have a business here, because you can't. You know, if you have a worker, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Going to cost you a lot of money. From raising a minimum wage to enshrining the right to collective bargaining in our state, his administration says they continue to support and protect all Illinois workers at every turn. And you can take off for whatever you need. You know, let's just say you've worked a year and, you know, you've got your 4 weeks of vacation from your employer, but now you've got 5 under the new Illinois state law. I mean, that at least that's as far as I understand it, that's what they're telling us. Now, a state representative and mayor of Rosemont, Bradley Stevens, will join us after 8 o'clock this morning, and he'll be in the know on this. I'll ask him. I mean, there's a guy that has a lot of employees there for the village of Rosemont. I'm also going to ask him if there's any chance we can get Taylor Swift in concert this year. I'm sure he's got a lot to do with that. But, man, that just seems to me when you talk about these minimum wage hikes and you talk about paid leave for any reason, and I mean, really, you can't accrue. How many people get a job and you get hired? And you have, I mean, 2 weeks is basically what you get when you start a gig. Am I wrong in that? Now, radio can be a little bit different, because if you come in and you want to sign a deal with somebody, well, you can bargain with your employer and say, nah, you know what, I want 4 weeks off. But most people, you're going to get 2 weeks off for your first year of employment. If you get that, now, with what I'm reading here, it basically says that, well, you can take this whenever you want. You can take this leave whenever you need. So, you know, take it, and good luck to you. We will talk with Mayor Brad Stevens about that coming up this morning, shortly after 8. You know, I was watching some of the sport news yesterday, and I don't know why, but I'd always kind of been a Denver Bronco fan. Now I'm a Chicago Bears would be my team. That's my birthright, and you know, again, I kind of left the NFL because of all the BS, the kneeling, the virtue signaling, them telling me how to act and who I got to get along with, and all of that. Colin Kaepernick it drove me crazy, and it really kind of drove me away. But I was watching yesterday, and I like Sean Payton. He's a local guy. He played high school football at Naperville. He was at Naperville Central when they were the Redskins, before they turned into the Red Hawks. So he played for the Naperville Redskins, and one of his number one receivers was a guy named Dwayne Creviston. They were a good football team, and he went on to play at Eastern Illinois. I believe that's where Sean Payton went, and then was a quarterback for the Spare Bears. So he walked across the picket line, and he played quarterback for the Spare Bears back in the day. But yesterday they decided they still have a chance to make the playoffs. They're going to sit Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell Wilson doesn't need the money. He's had a storied career and everything. But, man, it just goes to show you what a cutthroat BS organization Denver is and every other team in the NFL. This guy comes here, you know, he gives it his all. They still got a chance to win, but now they're going to start their backup quarterback because they really want to see how this backup quarterback's going to do when it comes to playing out the rest of the season, because there's a chance that they may make the playoffs, and they want to sit Russell Wilson down. It has nothing to do with X's and O's. It has nothing to do with wins and losses. What it has to do is with the amount of money Russell Wilson stands to make. It looks like if they've got so much money owed to this guy in the last 2 games that if they sit him down, there's at least a good chance they won't have to pay him an additional $35 million. It just, what have you done for me lately? Gosh, I'll tell you what. There is a reason why you watch high school football and Friday Night Lights in Chicago. It's pretty good. I still think there should be a Catholic League championship and a state league championship where schools can't recruit and do all of that. That drives me nuts. But, man, I saw that story about Russell Wilson, and wow. All right, we'll ask Mayor Brad Stevens and Representative Brad Stevens about this family leave deal and what it means to employees and employers. It is 8 o'clock, Fox News time on WIND Chicago.
Israel expands its attacks. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Going after more Hamas targets in the West Bank.
Overnight, Israeli forces launched new raids against Palestinian militants and infrastructure. Reports do indicate 10 different cities were targeted in these raids, notably the West Bank city of Ramallah. A number of arrests were made at other locations, and a money exchange shop was reportedly raided. Further south in the Gaza Strip, after expanding ground operations, the Israelis are facing fierce resistance.
That's Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. He reports 3 more Israeli soldiers were killed. It's now 167 since the war started, while in Gaza, officials say more than 20,000 Palestinians have been killed. Iran held a funeral today for a high-ranking general killed, Iran claims, by an Israeli airstrike in Syria. The crowd chanted, "No surrender, battle with America." The U.S. hit Iran-backed militants with airstrikes the other day, retaliating for yet another attack targeting U.S. forces in Iraq, injuring 3 Americans, 1 critically.
The best English the Iranian regime understands is a gun to their head.
Republican Congressman Pat Fallon tells Fox the U.S. needs to do more to stop Iran. Mexico's president says he made important agreements with the U.S. in talks with Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the head of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas as they ask for help stopping a record surge of illegal immigration. But Fox's Jillian Turner reports from Mexico City.
State Department officials have yet to disclose exactly what Secretary Blinken's delegation asked of Mexico's president, but an immediate priority for the Biden team is getting Mexico to crack down on cartels that smuggle migrants across the southern border.
Colorado's Republican Party is going to the U.S. Supreme Court, trying to keep former President Trump's name on the 2024 primary ballot, appealing a state Supreme Court ruling, removing it, claiming he's disqualified under a constitutional provision by leading an insurrection in the Capitol riot, though the former president's not charged with that. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 39 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The mayors of Chicago, New York City, and Denver are teaming up to try to push for some more federal support in dealing with the migrant crisis. All 3 took part in a virtual press conference yesterday. Mayor Johnson issued this plea.
We need the federal government to lean in and provide more financial assistance. All of our cities have reached a point where we are either close to capacity or nearly out of room.
He, along with the other mayors, are urging the feds to step up resources as their cities are close to capacity for asylum seekers. Illinois is set to become the first state in the nation to outlaw book bans. Governor Pritzker signed legislation earlier this year that allows the state's Secretary of State's office to deny grant funding to public and school libraries that ban books for partisan or doctrinal reasons. The law is in response to a nationwide trend of demanding that books be removed from library shelves, including those with stories about people of color and the LGBTQ community. The new law takes effect January 1st. And the CTA is joining forces with Miller Lite this New Year's Eve to offer free rides to customers. From 10 p.m. Sunday until 4 a.m. Monday, commuters could ride CTA buses and trains at no cost. The Miller Lite Free Rides program was created to encourage Chicagoans to ring in 2024 responsibly. News is a service of Salem Surround, providing your business with industry-leading digital marketing strategy designed to surround your target audience and drive action. Go to surroundchicago.com today. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Tesla is catching heat from two lawmakers in the wake of reports the electric vehicle company had long known about weaknesses in its suspension componentry. U.S. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Ed Markey have sent a letter to CEO Elon Musk calling on the company to recall the allegedly faulty parts swiftly. The letter cites, quote, an alarming Reuters investigation published December 20th that exposed how Tesla had blamed drivers for frequent failures of components it had long known were defective. The Reuters report found that Tesla told a government agency, NHTSA, and customers that the frequent failures of defective parts in its electric vehicles were caused by driver abuse, such as hitting a curb. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Mike Gallagher sees one answer in 2024.
I'm going to be on board with any Republican who's the nominee. But I think only one guy stands a chance against this vicious yet sophisticated machine that is ginned up against the Republican Party, and that's Donald J. Trump. He's the guy.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, my name is Peg. I'm a wife, mother, and grandmother. I love being with family. We have so much fun doing things together, and that is really the priority of my life. Family is so important to me, and I want to stay healthy so that I can continue to do the things that I enjoy doing with all of them. I try and exercise and eat well, and balance of nature just helps me to put it all together and take me over the top. I really am happy that I came across it, and I've been taking it for probably 5 years, and I will continue to take it. I would recommend Balance of Nature. It's so easy to do every day. I feel great, and who doesn't want to feel great?
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement as a preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Jerry Boyer for Townhall.com. Often the institutions that most affect your life are not household names. For example, when it comes to influencing major corporations, the big dogs are actually the proxy advisory services, especially ISS and Glass Lewis, but also the scrappy up-and-comers, such as Egan Jones and Strive. The first two represent 97% market share, and their recommendations affect the way trillions of dollars vote at annual shareholder meetings. Recently, a number of groups, such as the State Financial Officers Foundation, basically red state treasurers, have sent letters to the proxy services asking them to eliminate political bias in their voting policies and to provide non-ESG alternatives. Your investment dollars are your investment dollars, and your voice should not be hijacked into supporting social causes that you disagree with. Ask your financial advisor or the funds you invest with what they are doing about the problem.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. We begin in Porter County. State Road 149 closed both directions between Robbins Road and Lemberg Road, and this is due to a crash also involving a train. So I'll let you know what happens with that. If you're going inbound on the Edens, though, you're fine. Kennedy looks great as you head in from O'Hare to downtown in 18 minutes, and no troubles to report on the inbound Eisenhower 390 in. Stevenson still struggling just a bit. Ashland into the Dan Ryan. The Dan Ryan itself at 13 minutes, 95th Street on in. The Skyway is clear, so is I-57 and the Bishop Ford. DuSable Lakeshore Drive remains clear both directions. Tri-State North, that is tight Crawford to Cicero from an earlier accident, but the Jane Addams, Reagan, and the Veterans Memorial tollways are fine. Traffic is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcasts at 560theanswer.com/podcast. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Cloudy skies, rain and drizzle for today and tonight. The high today 40, low tonight 39. Clouds, a bit of morning rain, followed by areas of drizzle tomorrow afternoon, high 43. Sunny Saturday, and the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
It's your Foster fill-in, Ramondo Sanchez on AM 560. The Answer. God that I like to have on no matter where I fall on the radio dial is... I don't know if he's a state representative, a mayor, if he's running for governor, but I always enjoy his visits. With that said, Bradley Stevens is here this morning. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Ramblin'. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How you been? Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Yeah, everything's going well. You know, it's that week that gets shot to heck and nothing happens, but we're trying to make some things happen here, as we always do.
Well, I know. I that's exactly why I have you on, because everybody else, all the good guests, are, they're busy. So I'm like, I'll call the mayor. He'll join me.
Yeah, you got it. I'm here for you.
I noticed. I want to talk to you, and I will give you a chance to extol the virtues of your wonderful village and everything else. But first, I want to talk to you about this migrant caravan that's on its way from Elburn over to Elmhurst, then up Mannheim, and it ends up in Rosemont. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, well, it may end up in Rosemont, and it'll quickly turn around and be turned away. We've taken a few measures where everybody's talking about impounding buses and all that stuff all around the state now, and ironically, that was our ordinance that we've shared with everybody. This is a humanitarian issue that dropping people on a sidewalk in a situation where they have no place to stay, that's nowhere near humane, and from where I come from. So we passed an ordinance that where we can impound the bus, arrest the driver, and find these folks. We've shared all that information with the 24 bus companies that we know of that have been contracted by the state of Texas that have just been sending these people north. And, it's a shame there's no plan. And it starts from the top. It starts from the federal government. And there needs to be a plan. And while I applaud Mayor Johnson for saying, we need some help, but again, they're inviting everybody to the party, but they don't have the plan for refreshments. Basically,
I don't applaud Mayor Johnson for anything, and really, you look at it from top to bottom. This is a Biden administration issue. If you don't want people to come, close the damn border. But I agree with you that you can't let people in here and then give them nowhere to go. And you hear about these horrible stories about little kids dying while they're supposed to be, being taken care of as the immigration process works. Well, it doesn't work. And I don't know what the end result here is, but that's been my conjecture all along, is you can't let people in here if you don't know what you're going to do with them. And then you end up with guys like you that find the situation untenable for your residents, future cities. I get why you have to have a time and schedule to drop them off, but good luck with that.
Yeah, and you know, a little known fact, my wife is a legal immigrant. Her and her family came to the United States from Macedonia the right way. They went through the process, and they're here as legal citizens now. So I'm not going to be, you know, slapped down with, you know, I don't have any sympathy for these types of folks, but there's probably a lot of these folks that want to support their family, that want to be able to get into the workforce and do the right thing, and they're not doing that either. And there's shortage of workers all around. You know, some of our American citizens think that they should just sit back and get a handout. That's not the American way, the way I was raised, and I think that you got to provide the opportunity for them to be able to support themselves and live on their own.
And there are people that have come, and they've been in the queue, as we like to say. They've respected the process. Let's face it, the process is flawed. It's broken. It takes a long time for somebody to become a citizen of the United States, but you can't just jump the line. But before we talk about that anymore, before you joined us, I was talking about this Paid Leave Act for workers in the state of Illinois. Can you explain to me what that is? I mean, how does that help employers? I know it helps employees, but that seems to me like it's just another thing that makes it tough on a guy that's trying to run a small business.
Well, in the last session, the Democrats passed two initiatives. One is paid sick leave, and then another is the Paid Leave Act, that for no reason, you know, an employee can take a day off, and you have to earn it after 90 days of being employed, and there's no clarification whether it's 90 days of work or 90 days on the calendar. Okay. That's sort of still a gray area. That for every 40 hours that you work, you earn an hour paid time off, and it's really not going to help. It's not going to help get people jobs. It's sort of foolish. They exempted park districts and school districts, but they didn't exempt municipalities. You know, here for me, and as you like to call it, the Hamlet, we've got all those auxiliary police that they're going to start racking up this time. And, you know, if it's a rainy day and we've got, you know, a big show at the arena, these folks can just call in and it says a reasonable amount of time, and nobody's defined what that is, and say, hey, listen, I'm not showing up today. And then we've got a problem on our hands. So from the government side, it's not a good thing. And all of the local governments that surround me here have been asking for the exemption and for a delay in the implementation. But it's coming January 1, and fortunately they don't get to take any time off for 90 days. So hopefully we can get down there and put a trailer bill through that makes some sense. But I serve on the labor committee in the House, and we brought all these questions up, and it was like, no, we don't think that's going to be the case. And
I can't even imagine what it's like to sit there and try to talk common sense into the folks that make up most of the laws and rules in the state of Illinois. And I should also remind people that not only are you mayor of Rosemont, but you're also a state representative from the 20th district, Bradley Stevens. And when I talk about the hamlet of Rosemont, it really is a model for what can happen when you have a little bit to work with and you put every inch of that municipality to work. Do you still return more tax dollars? How does that work? You return a bunch of tax dollars. Is it the biggest tax dollars outside of the city of Chicago?
Yeah, per capita, I believe we're probably the largest in the state of Illinois of dollars that go down to Springfield, to Cook County, and we're fine with that. You know, this year the Fashion Outlets of Chicago is going to surpass over $400 million in retail sales. So we think we got it dialed in, and we make sure that folks are safe and comfortable, and you know, that's what we do, and we're happy to do it. Nobody wanted this land, back in the 1950s, and the old man saw a little shining star there, and I think that laid a great foundation, and we've been able to make it a little bit better as we go along.
But before I let you go, I have to ask you. Your deputy mayor there in town is a guy named Pat Nagel. Any chance that Pat Nagel brings Taylor Swift to the Allstate Arena this year?
I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to
Okay.
the deputy. He's doing a great job over there, as he always does. And the problem is that all of us are getting older, Ray, and the replacement pool is thin.
There you go. I'm here for you. I'm always asking you for a gig.
Oh, man, you want to drive a snowplow?
All I want to do is drive I'll drive a street sweeper. I don't care. Just put me in the union. I need that extra day off a week.
Listen, we support the labor unions, but we just take care of our employees. We believe really well, and our village employees are non-union. They're the Rosemont Union.
All right. Okay, and that's a good union to be in. All right. Before I let you go, tell me something good that's going on in your district and in the town. It could be one or either, because a lot of people don't know this about you, but you are a very charitable human being, and you're always there whenever I ask for charity, whether that be somebody that's sick or St. Jude Children's Hospital. You've always come through. Tell me something good.
Well, this last year we did this thing, sort of like the Cows on Parade they had in the city several years ago. We did Nutcrackers on parade. We sponsored these things. We wrote a check for $20,000 to the Lutheran General Children's Hospital, the cancer center over there, and the old man passed because of cancer, and that's been sort of my bailiwick and what we've tried to support in the pediatric end. And there's always good things that we support. And
well,
that's what we're supposed to do.
You're always doing good in the hood. Keep fighting the fight in the Illinois legislature. God bless you, sir. God bless you for putting up with that. All right. Thank you, Mayor. All right. Happy New Year, pal. That's Mayor Brad Stevens. When he talks about the old man, he's talking about Donald Stevens, his father, who was the OG of that community. You can say what you want about what goes on over there, and I know in the history, people have had their opinions, but that place works, and that's a good man. My name's Ray Stevens, in for Dan and Amy, 821 on WIND, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sean Thompson here. If you're a small business owner or you make the marketing decisions or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up. Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway. And this year, we are helping to raise money for the children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food. Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during the season of economic decline, unemployment, and the rising food prices. Our friends at Food for the Poor are working with their partners on the ground to provide life-saving food. And here's how your business can be a part of this solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. And AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., Monday through Friday, at no additional cost to you. It's the best deal in all of Chicagoland radio. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Natowski, one of my favorite people, at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951. Or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
Most people have no idea there's an invisible gap in their home's protection. This invisible threat is house stealing. Con artists pick a house. They transfer the deed of this house into their name by obtaining the forms, using the fake IDs, and filing the paperwork with proper authorities. Now they own the home. Protect your home from this invisible gap. Check on your home's title right now at HomeTitleLock.com. Be sure to use promo code RADIO and they will send you a complete title scan of your home's title. And your first 30 days of triple lock title protection is free. HomeTitleLock.com.
Dennis Prager here with a man I have come to admire for his work. So when I asked him, what do you do? This is the title he gave, Wealth Architect.
Very simply put, I am a wealth architect that helps my clients accelerate the way they grow your wealth. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. The Internal Revenue Code is embedded with a number of things that you can take advantage of. It's what I call playing tax chess. We take the time to play tax chess in your favor. We tend to give our clients unbiased, independent advice across all areas in their financial life because we have no incentive to sell anything. We can't just take your information, say in February or March, prepare the returns and say, oh, these are the things you should have done. It's too late. You need to meet with me now. Because oftentimes, after the close of the calendar year, some of the strategies that we implement in your financial life can't be implemented retroactively.
You have, in fact, saved me a serious amount of money. CharlesDombeck.com/Prager.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time, and they go, how are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom? And I laugh with them and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. Back Tuesday. I'm sure Amy is either playing volleyball, coaching, working out, riding her bike, Utah. Dan chasing a little white ball somewhere, probably staying one step ahead of the Gators. My name is Ray Stevens. Our phone number here on AM 560, The Answer, 312-642-5600. Rich is on the line in Indian Head Park. Rich, good morning. Welcome into WIND.
Good morning, Ray. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing good.
What can I do for
you? What I want to do is to wish you, your family, everyone at 560, and all the listeners and their families a healthy and happy New Year. And stay safe this weekend.
Well, you as well, and I appreciate that. Rich from Indian Head Park. You see, that's nice. You're not calling to tell us that we're doing something wrong or talk politics. You just called to say Happy New Year. Appreciate you, Rich. If you don't know who Charles Lipson is, you ought to. He writes for a lot of publications. One, Real Clear Politics. The other, he writes for The Spectator. Charles Lipson is his name. And I was just reading an article that Quinn gave me. And just talking about the commentary on the policies of Mayor Johnson. You forget in 7 months what this guy has accomplished. And the one thing he's accomplished, they say, the local joke, is that his only success has been to lower the price of downtown Chicago real estate. That is the writing of one Charles Lipson. Start city-owned and operated grocery stores in underserved areas. Now, you know why the grocery stores have left, right? Remember when, and I hate this for Inglewood because I get it. My friend Ray Lopez has a portion of Inglewood under his control. You go to the neighborhood, and when you're there, and I do a lot of work in the neighborhood, cleaning up and helping folks, and I've had a chance to be there. And in the daylight hours, it can be okay, but I'm always there with a police escort. It's can be a dangerous place, but they put the Whole Foods in there. It didn't last very long. It didn't last very long because there's shoplifting, undocumented shopping, as we call it nowadays. And there are some that say it wasn't touched during the summer love when everything got torched, so you can't use that as an excuse, but it's hard to do business in these neighborhoods when you have people that are just tearing stuff up all the time. But that's just a portion of the people. It's sad to talk about. You got to, his other idea, ticket the buses bringing illegal migrants to Chicago. We just talked about that with Bradley Stevens. The bus company's own solution to drop the passengers off in the burb, immediately send them to Chicago. Johnson then rages at the Texas governor, never mentions the guy whose fault this really falls on. And who's that? Oh, that's right, President Biden. He talks about how the CTU is easily the most powerful union in the state of Illinois. They're the ones that got this guy elected. I can't think that it would have been better with Paul Vallis, because it certainly would have. It's could be the strongest teachers union in the country. Now they say without the Chicago Teachers Union, this is the conjecture of one Charles Lipson, and I love this line. It's the union members who compromised Johnson's dwindling band of supporters. If it weren't for them, the mayor could hold a re-elect Brandon Johnson rally on a unicycle with nobody there. I don't see how it gets better with this guy in office. It really is a blank show in Chicago. Scheduled next to talk with Casey Galborough. He is a chef of a near western suburban restaurant that just won the Certified Angus Beef Steakhouse of the Year. You know him. He's been on with Dan and Amy before. And, it shouldn't be my favorite thing, but it's up there. I mean, they're a really good chop house. They're nice people. And I've known these guys forever, but they fought Governor J.B. Pritzker, and they won. We are scheduled to talk with Casey next here on AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer. Good morning. Nikki Whaley with news.
Good morning. It's 39 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The Michigan Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump can remain on the state's 2024 presidential primary ballot. The court yesterday rejected an appeal to kick the former president off the ballot using the Constitution's insurrection clause. Trump celebrated the move and called it a pathetic gambit to rig the election. Israeli forces are launching raids into the occupied West Bank as their war against Hamas continues. The military launched an assault on 10 cities, including the headquarters of the Palestinian Authority. At least one person was killed. The father of the North Suburban Highland Park parade shooter suspect is filing for bankruptcy. Robert Cremo Jr. faces several lawsuits from families of the shooting victims, and he says he has $1.6 million in debt. Earlier this month, he served less than a 60-day sentence for helping his son, Robert Cremo III, get a firearm owner's ID despite having past mental health issues. Cremo III remains behind bars, and his trial is expected to start at the end of February. News is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Prof University and The Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka.
Income tax brackets at the IRS are to increase, and the standard deduction is to change. So basically, this is the one hand of the administration fessing up at how badly the other hand has screwed things up.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Sean Thompson here to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign. Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. Right now, throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, millions are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices. Many families are simply skipping meals for a day at a time because they can't afford to buy food. The only thing between families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food. But in order to get this food to those who need it most, Food for the Poor needs your help. Right now, thanks to a generous match for a one-time gift of just $80, you can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year. To make the gift, simply call 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673. Visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That's 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. And thanks in advance for your generosity.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads to Porter County, Indiana. State Road 149 is still closed either way between Robbins Road and Lemberg Road, and that is due to an accident. Crews are on the scene. Northbound 394 approaching Sauk Trail, there's an accident on the right shoulder. It's wide open on the inbound Edens and the Kennedy. Eisenhower looks good 390 into downtown. Stevenson 22 355 into downtown. That is tight. Ashland into the Dan Ryan. The Ryan 13 minutes 95th on in. Skyway is fine. I-57 and the Ford look good. DuSable Lakeshore Drive and the tollways. All of those are in good shape right now. 8094 not reporting any problems as well. This report is sponsored by Boost Infinite. Boost Infinite's new wireless technology gives you 3 networks for the price of 1 and better service at a lower price. Switch today. Visit boostinfinite.com. That's boostinfinite.com. Boost. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Cloudy skies, rain and drizzle for today and tonight. The high today 40, low tonight 39. Clouds, a bit of morning rain, followed by areas of drizzle tomorrow afternoon, high 43. Sunny Saturday, and the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
In my remaining half hour here on AM 560 for Dan and Amy. And by the way, they're back Tuesday. I'm going to set you up with some things that you may want to do for maybe the new year, maybe New Year's Eve, but that will be one. A restaurant suggestion that I have for you, maybe two. And then dry January, we will visit with Joe Chura of Go Brewing, Go Brewery in Naperville to give you an option to alcoholic beer, and then maybe just taking January off from the Wicked Ale. I may have to do that. I'm not much of a beer guy, but, you throw a little Tito's at me, a little Angel's Envy, Ben, I'm right there. So I want to say good morning to a friend of mine. Gentleman's name is Casey Gulborough. Casey has been on, he's been on just about every radio station. Were you at the height of your controversy, Casey? And I don't want to just focus on that, but were you on Fox News, too?
Yes, I was on with Neil Cavuto. It was a great experience. That was a good time. Yeah.
So here's the thing. We come into the to the pandemic, and of course, the drill. Everybody has to wear a mask. We're going to flatten the curve. As Pritzker said, we'll flatten the curve, and then Fauci said we'll flatten the curve, and they really handcuffed individuals and businesses. And they're at Foxfire Restaurant, downtown Geneva, Illinois, one of my favorite places to go. You guys fought the law and you won, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we did our best. We were allowed to be, at one time, the only restaurant in Illinois to be legally open for during the pandemic. So that was a good victory. We had got a hats off to Kevin and Greg, our lawyers, that had a great case, and was a good time.
Well, my question is, and I know that you did Because you didn't do this out of spite. You did this to keep your workers working, to keep your building paid for. And I mean, it's how the economy works. It's how you make a living. It's how you feed your family. And you did all the protocols. You did everything the way that you were supposed to do it. Do you still use all those air purifiers and all that money that you invested?
Yeah, we still have those air purifiers up. They run every day. I believe they do work. They do help out. They're medical grade air purifiers that really keep that air pure. And we do still practice washing our hands and everything else that we have to do to be in the food business. So, yeah, we take every precaution. We take it seriously still.
And I know you do. Boy, I saw something the other day on your social media, and I just want to be clear that I've known the Goldboro family most of my life. You grew up just on the street from me, and we've remained friends, and I'm very proud of the work that you and your family have done and your dad at that restaurant. But I noticed one of your workers had, and I am the guy that I do not believe in electric bikes. I think bikes are something you have to pedal. It just goes to show you how lazy we are as Americans. But your guys use it to, one of your guys uses an electric bike to get to work, so I'm going to give him a pass. Somebody thought they needed that bike more than he did, and they stole it. And you guys, you went and you got him another one, didn't you?
Yeah, well, somebody stole our guy's only mode of transportation, but, it was a sad day, but our good friends down in Batavia helped us out at Bogie Bikes and got us a great deal on a Hemingway electric bike. We got it for him, and I never seen somebody jump so high before and that playing a basketball game. It was a great experience, and he's tickled pink.
We do
cheating, but
yeah, we do a lot of work together. Whether that's on the Illinois Special Olympics, and we help the Special Olympics, and we do the Tip-A-Cop, which you do with the Geneva Police. But you do good things. But I want to talk about your restaurant now because the product you have is second to none. How cool was it for you to win the Certified Steakhouse of the Year? That's a lot of steakhouses.
That's over 100,000 steakhouses that we won this great award. I'm still in shock. It was so honored and humbled to get this thing. It was we've been working with Certified Angus Beef Steaks, the best steaks you can get, for over 15 years. They've been like family to us, and to win that award was a huge accomplishment, and we're very honored to win that.
We were talking earlier today, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but minimum wage going up in the state of Illinois, this Illinois workers' right bill or whatever it is, saying that a worker can get a week off for every year work to take off time for whenever they need. I don't think that's probably going to be a problem for you, because I watch your workers. And I watch you handle your workers, and you share in all the success you have with them. But does this state make it hard to do business?
It does. And some of these laws that they're putting in that they're thinking that it's going to help the average worker, I see it's going to really hurt the full-time worker. I mean, we're going to have to hire more part-times to fill in for the time of people taking off. And the amount of money that goes into our labor is already high compared to some of our friends that own businesses in other states. They can't believe it, and it's really hard to run a business in Illinois right now. How do
you just keep? I mean, it's like, I'm sure it's like pounding a rock every day, but you keep doing it. And I know that it's probably expensive, but I guess where else you're going to go, right?
Yeah, unless we move, there's nothing else we can do. But it's we love this industry. We love our customers, and especially love our staff, and we'll do anything for them to treat them right. And we do treat them right, and that's where I don't understand the government have to get in on that. But we love it. So what else are we going to do? We're going to do the best we can do with what we got and get through this.
More government. That's what we need. At least there in the town of Geneva, you do have a really good mayor. Although he never buys me a drink, Mayor Kevin Burns is a good guy. He's a good man. I like the town of Geneva, except when they play Batavian football. But other than that, we get along swimmingly. You got anything come up? I know you have Foxfire on Main Street, and then you have the Copper Fox. Where are you sending me for New Year's? What do you got going on?
Well, I would come down to Foxfire. We're going to have our Alaskan king crab legs this weekend. A great special, great way to ring out the new year. We are pretty full on reservations. Space is limited, but with any restaurant, this is New Year's Eve. The best time to call for your reservation is usually the day before or even the day of, just to see if there's any last-minute cancellations. We're going to be featuring our great list of cocktails. Dylan's got a bunch of neat specialty drinks coming out of the bar, our mixologist. And you were talking about no alcohol January or dry January.
Yeah.
Come down. You should have Kevin Burns give you a call and come down for one of our amazing mocktails that Dylan's got coming out of our bar.
You know that, and my best girl Gina, she will enjoy a mocktail from time to time, and I'm probably gonna broach the subject of her because I would need her help to do dry January with her together because we're not heavy drinkers by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, but we're the two that can have two cocktails and be done with it, just as an evening drink. But she runs a much healthier program than I do, as I know you well know. But we'll come see you. We'll check it out. My suggestion always is the appetizer. You know what it is. You know what I'm going to say.
I got to stop you, Ray, because we made a little change to your favorite appetizer.
What'd you do?
Well, now it's a feature. We're doing a Bang Bang cauliflower, so it's going to be good for G.
Oh yeah,
it's a little healthier.
Yeah,
it's selling 3-to-1 of the Bang Bang chicken that you loved before, so we decided to make the switch, and you're gonna have to come down and give it a try.
Well,
it's Mom's favorite thing on the menu right now.
Congratulations on the award, and I wanted to give you some props because we forget that lunatic and craziness of what happened to us during the pandemic, and I will always remember you for giving me a place to go when everything else was closed. If you can, call Foxfire the day of or the day before, see if you can get reservations, and hopefully when you're there, you can see a guy named Kurt sing some Johnny Cash because it makes your entertainment and dining experience that much better. Hey, thanks for all you do. Congratulations. Always good to have you on the radio, brother.
Oh, Ray, thank you so much for having me on, and Happy New Year, and hopefully Lindsay says hello, by the way.
All right, you tell her I said hi as well. Good people out there at Foxfire and Copper Fox. You can find them in Geneva. And just when you're out there and when you go there, and it doesn't have to be today or New Year's or whatever, just remember that they fought Pritzker, and they won. And I like that. All right, let's talk with Joe Chara. He owns Go Brewery. I'm told by Quinn here at the radio station that his stuff is number one. I've never tried it, but Dry January is on the docket. We're going to talk about it next here on AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been around a long time. Every one of us, as we age, realizes that things are changing in our bodies, in the world around us. Lots of times I don't like what's happening, so what can I do about it? Well, the one thing we can do is pray, right? The other thing we can do is take better care of ourselves. I do that by taking Balance of Nature because I'm not really good at nutrition. I'm too busy, I'm on the run, and I don't eat enough vegetables, and I certainly don't eat enough fruit. And when I take Balance of Nature, I can feel good that I've done something for myself that I can actually control. So take control. Get Balance of Nature.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-353-2973 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
If you're self-employed and purchase your own health insurance, I have some great news.
From now until January 15th, the health insurance exchanges are open again. And even if you've never qualified for a health insurance subsidy before, you most likely will now. The American Rescue Plan expanded subsidy eligibility to millions of Americans who have never qualified before, even to those with high income levels. And this year, you can purchase a multi-state PPO policy, which includes access to Northwestern Medical Group, as well as other teaching hospitals around the nation. Employers who provide small group coverage also have new options, and so do seniors looking for Medicare supplement coverage. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 25-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than 10 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
From director George Clooney.
Oh, what's that about making some money? Yeah, the rowing team. We get a part-time job and a cheap place to live.
This holiday season.
Come on, boys! That bunch of kids rode like no one else that's ever come through here.
Based on the inspiring true story.
We have it both. Strong enough to qualify for an Olympic spot. Well, lay down, coach.
Of the underdogs who made history.
The Americans have the 1936 Olympics. Row for your country. Row for each other.
The Boys in the Boat. Now playing only in theaters. Rated PG-13. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, visit surroundchicago.com. Remember to visit surroundchicago.com today.
Calling all Patriots. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Journey with me on the Patriots Alaska cruise in June 2024. We'll dive deep into geopolitical trends and unpack the influences shaping the world today. It's an incredible opportunity to engage with me and other Patriots on an epic 7-day journey. Witness the untouched wilderness of Alaska while discussing America's future. Join us from June 29th to July 6, 2024. Book online, patriotsalaskacruise.com.
Amy Jacobson and Dan Proft here, and we want to tell you about our 2023 Food for the Poor campaign.
As many of you already know, Food for the Poor is a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Right now, millions of families and children are experiencing the devastating effects of economic decline and rising food prices.
For many, the cost of food has simply become prohibitive, leading to sickness and starvation.
The only thing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get the food to those who need it, Food for the Poor needs your help. Thanks to a generous match, your one-time gift of just $80 can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year.
To make that gift, just call 844-862-4673.
Visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor or just click on the Give Life banner, and thank you so much for your generosity.
AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer. It's Ray, in for Dan and Amy. Joe Chura is a guy who I spoke to him on another radio show I did last week, and I thought I've got to have him on in Chicago because he is a Chicagoland guy. Stop by the Go Brewing tap room in Naperville. It's at 1665 Quincy to purchase Go Brewery non-alcoholic beer. Joe, welcome to WIND, sir.
Hey, Ray. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I got to tell you that before, I was telling Quinn, one of the producers here at the radio station, who we're going to have on as we get ready to do our show. He's like, I drink that beer. He gives you his seal of approval, says that it's wonderful. He is a 9-year guy that's on the program, and he is very thankful for your product. And I like it when you get a you get a nice testimonial there without even asking for it.
Oh, that's amazing! I'll have to send him some more product. Thank you for bringing that up.
Right on. He's shaking his fist in the next room, going, "Yeah." So, hey, let's talk about Dry January. I've mentioned it yesterday, and I mentioned it today. It's something worth talking about. Tell me what Dry January means to you, and how you came up with the idea for a non-alcoholic beer that actually tastes like beer.
Yeah, thank you for having me on first and foremost. Dry January is a fantastic time of year because it brings our attention to the personal relationship we all have with alcohol. And it was a challenge very similar to Dry January that turned my life around. I tasted what it felt like to be clear and healthy during the challenge. I looked in the mirror 3 weeks into not drinking. I noticed my face started to look thinner. My skin was better. I had this renewed sense of energy. And ultimately, it inspired me to launch Go Brewing.
And tell me about the tap room. So I'm in Naperville. I mean, everybody likes to go there and have a good time. There's a lot of things to do. I imagine this is just like any other brewery or any other tap room. It's just that you have your beer there.
Yeah, I was going to say it is and it isn't. So on one end, you'd walk in there and it would look like any other brewery. Okay. But what's really unique is we have 13 non-alcoholic beers on tap, and they're all the beers that we make in-house. That's the only thing that we do since day one is make non-alcoholic beer. And we also have non-alcoholic wine. But for those that are drinking, that are shaking their head right now, saying, "Why would anyone do that?" We do have guest beers on draft, so we have some of the best guest beers. So we try to have a very inclusive menu, and we are one of the only breweries in the country that has this kind of selection. And we're we're 30 minutes outside of Chicago.
You can purchase this Go Brewery GoBrewing.com. You can get it on Amazon, but hey, why not stop by Naperville, 1665 Quincy Avenue? Joe, we've got a couple minutes left. Tell me, what is the key to success when you want to look at maybe just completing Dry January, and then maybe after that? Give me 2 keys to success to make sure I can get through.
Yeah, I think one is you just have to realize it's going to be hard. If you have not abstained from alcohol for a period of time, this is going to be different. So you've got to get in that frame of mind. So that's one. Your mind's going to play games with you as well. And then think about micro goals. Think about tomorrow. One of our slogans is remember tomorrow. So when if you're feeling that craving, which we all are going to have, especially at 5 o'clock or on Friday night, just think about tomorrow. How are you going to feel tomorrow when you either quit the challenge or you drank a little too much that respective night? So I would definitely do that, and then try to replace not drinking with a positive habit. That's always good. Don't take too much on, and of course grab non-alcoholic beer because that's going to curb your craving like nothing else.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people when we fell into the pandemic, people were doing virtual cocktail hours, and next thing you knew, everybody was gathering around Tito's, and I'm probably no exception to that rule. So Dry January is something I'm probably going to do this with Gina, and it's not like we drink a lot, so it's not going to be, it won't be hard for us. It's just cool to say, all right, well, here's a little challenge. And I know, for most people, setting goals is a hard deal, especially New Year's resolutions. It's hard. And if you do have a drinking problem, seek out some help. Get on the program. I told you this last time we visited Joe. My dad, I think, was 42 years a recovering alcoholic. Very proud of him for being able to do that. And you can do it. You can. You just need people to back you up, and then you need people that are innovators like you, Joe, because you give people that don't want to drink a chance to be able to go out and socialize like they normally would with non-alcoholic brews. It's such a cool idea.
Yeah, listen, if I could do it, anyone listening to this can. I was a naysayer. I was like, what's the point of NA beer? Until I had one, and it curbed my craving immediately because it's one of those NA beverages that tastes so much like the real thing, your brain doesn't know the difference. And I'm telling you, 3-4 weeks in, weight's going to start to melt off. You have anxiety like I did, that'll start to go away. and you'll be more mentally clear. And what I compare this to is the thinking about you all of a sudden will acquire what feels like superpowers. I know that sounds crazy, but many of us don't know what it feels like not to be under the cloud of alcohol. And I'm telling you, this is just a great reset to start the year, so give it a try.
Well, like you said, if you can do it, anybody can. And I think one, it's a cool idea. And I know for you to have this in Naperville is probably a really cool deal because it is a great town of restaurants and bars, and go have some fun. Again, the location, 1665 Quincy Avenue. It's Go Brewing.com. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it there at their website, or you can get it at Benny's. I want to wish you a Happy New Year, Joe. I know you'll have no problem in dry January. I'm going to check in with you and let you know how it went for me.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ray.
Hey, be well, brother. I appreciate you, and I know that Quinn appreciates you as well. Thanks a lot. All right, that's going to probably wrap it up for me here at WIND. Want to thank Justin and Quinn for helping out. Also want to thank Ken Jerish is, I believe, how he pronounced it. Jerish, am I right? The Jerish Bakery dropped off a lot of very nice stuff to us. Guys, save one thing for me. Just one thing is I'm going to have a dry January from candy, but that's and sweets, but that'll happen in January. We're not quite there yet. Dan and Amy are going to return on Tuesday. Until then, take care of yourselves. It's always good to be here and have a little fun on the WIND AM 560 airwaves. You guys are always very kind to me. If you want, please follow. I get a lot of Twitter activity when I show up here. So Ramblin_Ray on social media, on Twitter, and things of that like. And if you'd like, every now and then, just log on to my website at RamblinRayStevens.com, and you can find out here in Chicago where you can listen to me on a daily basis. It is 9 o'clock, time for Fox News at WIND AM 560 Chicago.
A second American hostage in Gaza declared dead. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Judy Weinstein Haggai, who's also an Israeli. News of her death comes days after we learned her husband, Gadi Haggai, is dead. Both were shot while being kidnapped by Hamas in the October terror attack that prompted Israel to go to war in Gaza and the West Bank, too.
After expanding ground operations, the Israelis are facing fierce resistance. 167 Israeli soldiers have been killed since the invasion began, with thousands injured. The Israelis are using infantry troops, backed by tanks and air support, to clear new areas. But each day, Hamas and Islamic Jihad have launched new attacks using RPGs and roadside bombs. As the conflict continues, the humanitarian situation in Gaza is also deteriorating for the more than 2 million Palestinians living there.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. The U.S. is sending another $250 million in military aid to help Ukraine fend off Russia's invasion.
With advanced surface-to-air missile systems, high mobility